That's her favorite, so whatever. These kids trying to demand. Let me get
It's pretty hard for me to sneak up on something.
Well, I just.
You want me to do the introduction?
Yes, sir.
You lost your edge, man. You're holding on too tight. Turning your wings.
But if you want to use the podium, I can name
When you're, is it 6?
6 o'clock.
Perfect. All right, I'd like to call to order the City Council adjourned regular meeting of Monday, April 28th at 2025 at 6 p.m. City Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Hasselbrink,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Doby,
here.
Councilmember Hibbard, Councilmember Lowe,
Here.
Councilmember Nafolda.
Here.
Thank you. And just to let everybody know, our video equipment has aged out. It actually aged out about 10 years ago, but we've been Band-Aided it together. So we have temporary equipment here tonight. The only difference is we are not able to live stream, but as soon as the meeting is over, we will put it up on LATV and we'll be able to see it in the archives. So, and with that, can you please stand with us and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lowe and the invocation held by Councilmember Nafolda.
With your hand over your heart, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for bringing us together tonight to participate in this meeting. I ask that you continue to bless everyone in the room, all of our constituents, and to continue to bless the City of Los Alamitos. I would ask for special blessings for those who are present tonight who are receiving special recognition, including many first responders and public safety personnel. I ask that you give me and my colleagues the wisdom, the patience, and the integrity to work together tonight to solve and to address the city's activities and the agenda. I ask that you give us the strength and the wisdom to do this. In your name we pray. Amen.
We get to do something really fun tonight. We get to welcome our newest police officer and the oath of office and swear him in and take lots of family pictures and just enjoy our newest officer. So I'll take it over to you, Captain South.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, before I get started, I just wanted to say that on a personal note, this is really meaningful for me. I have a connection to Officer McLeod. He started out as a police aide, got to know him, gives us a chance to see his character, see what kind of person he is, and how much drive he has, and seeing him get into the academy and graduate the academy is phenomenal. In addition to that, I also have a lot of ties to the academy that he graduated from. He graduated from the Orange County Sheriff's Regional Training Academy on Thursday. It was a true honor to get up there on stage and give him his badge at his graduation. So now here I get to do it again. So I'm thinking we should just do this weekly. We'll just keep giving you a badge. Eventually I'll get it right. Come on up here, Josh. See how handsome you are. All right, little bio on Josh. Born on December 19th, 2003. Josh grew up in Long Beach and graduated from Millikan High School in 2022. His interest in law enforcement was sparked during his junior year when he applied to join the Long Beach Police Department Explorer Program. Initially aspiring to enlist in the United States Marine Corps, Joshua's plans shifted due to his food allergies, which disqualified him from military service. Joshua graduated from the Long Beach Explorer Program, earning the rank of sergeant, and discovered a true passion for a career in law enforcement. Following high school, he remained active in the Explorer program while attending Long Beach City College, where he majored in business. In April 2024, Joshua was hired as a police aide with the Los Alamitos Police Department and assigned to the traffic division. There, he gained his valuable field experience that will undoubtedly serve him well as he transitions into his new role as a sworn police officer. Congratulations. Okay, now I'd like to invite his mother, Erin, his grandfather, Keith, and his girlfriend, Elda, up here for the badge pinning. All right, we're going to do the oath of office and then we'll get pictures. So let's get this completely official first. All right. Nobody cares what I'm saying. Get what you're saying. Face the crowd. Here we go. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joshua McLeod,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Now we'll do pictures. Come on, good. Lots of pictures.
Use the backdrop.
Background.
Use the backdrop.
Use backdrop.
I don't want to be your backdrop.
Oh, I got this. We like your hat, though.
Well, thank you.
Just get the mirror on the back.
That's perfect.
Lawrence, and I'm here on behalf of the Assemblyman Tree Talk. And we are very excited. We love Los LPD. I don't know if you've seen him walking over here, or if you recognize everyone, but this is such an amazing team and family. So congratulations on being part of it. Congratulations on your oath of office, and congratulations.
Awesome. And Captain South, I don't know if you've let Officer McLeod know that his first assignment will be the bite suit, so he can properly be introduced to Elvis.
I already spit his mouth for him.
Awesome. Perfect. Yep. Perfect. All right. At this time, I want to bring our fire chief up, Chief Covey. This is something that was near and dear to my heart that we saw at the OCFA board meeting. If you recall, a couple of months ago, there was a fire in Rossmore of a home. And what I want to play for you is the things that we don't get to see. This is behind the scenes. This is the 911 call. And listen to how amazing our dispatcher did. Now, let me give you some numbers so you understand it. OCFA, the Emergency Operations Center, in March, they received 18,634 calls. The average is about 471 calls a day. They dispatch in about 50 seconds. That's 14 seconds better than the national average. So keep those numbers in mind, and then listen to the focus and the care that this dispatcher gave to this lady to calm her down, to make sure, in her words, she didn't die today. So, Chief Covey, it's all yours.
Actually, hold on one second. So, thanks, Mayor. My name's Craig Covey. I supervise fire services in Los Al as our Division 1 chief. Tonight's really a great night. So, people expect us to be perfect every time. We expect to be better than perfect every time because you deserve it. Okay, we train hard. Our crews train every day and train hard to be there when you call 911. Some of the calls don't challenge us as much. But the others, can you imagine you being on the second floor of a house, and your first floor is on fire, and you can't get out? What do you do? Okay, that's what occurred. And I'm so proud of this team on this day. This was their A game. They brought their A game that day, and this is the outcome.
I'm upstairs in the bedroom. Okay, all right. I want you to keep that room shut. Do you have is there a sink in that room or a bathroom? Yes. Okay, I want you to grab a clean towel. I want you to soak that with water and put it down against the bottom of the door, okay?
I ran over to the door and stuck the towel under the door, and that's when I noticed I could feel that the door was hot. So then I really started panicking.
Right off the bat, Sue was understandably terrified. I could hear it in her voice.
I can see smoke coming. Oh my God, I can see smoke.
She was like trying to keep me calm and, telling me what to do, and that was helpful. Otherwise, I don't know what I don't know what I would have done.
She stated her fears, and I told her it wasn't going to happen today.
Is the victim out of the house? I don't want to die today. We're not going to let that happen.
When I first arrived and I was talking to Sue, there was pretty thick smoke coming out already. Sue was coughing quite a bit from the smoke.
All of a sudden, he just popped up into the window. There was his face. I felt like huge relief, I was still really scared and panicky and everything, but I did feel like a big sense of relief.
Once we threw that ladder, I went up it and started coaching Sue about how to get on the ladder. She was a little afraid of the heights, so just had to work with her with that and kind of coach her through, reassuring her that I was gonna make sure I held on to her and we were gonna safely make it down that ladder.
We're currently working on getting the patient out.
I was like, I can't get my leg out. And I kind of had a hard time getting my leg out, but I finally got my, my right leg out.
Then I placed one of her feet on the rung of the ladder. I grabbed her other leg, put the other foot on another rung on the ladder, just guiding it, held her by the shirt, and asked her to walk down with me, and we were able to walk down.
He said, I'm right here, I won't let you fall,
County Fire Fox Right, see one victim rescued.
The second story where I was, the room that I was in, there's video of it completely on fire, like huge flames coming out the windows.
A little bit after I got out of there, there was this fire coming out of that window. which would have made it untenable for any human being to survive in there without the appropriate equipment.
Sue was a fighter. She was scared, but she was able to keep herself collected enough to follow my instructions. Had she not done that, there could have certainly been a different outcome.
If they hadn't rescued me, I would have died in that fire. I'm so thankful that the firefighters all, didn't let the fire spread to the neighbor's home. But I'm just so thankful and grateful to everyone.
Take a breath, help is on the way.
It was a team effort. Our dispatchers are first to serve. We talk about that all the time. They're frequently giving instructions and helping out even before our firefighters get on scene while they're communicating with them. One of the firefighters is here. The chief that was in charge of the incident is here. We're going to bring him forward and recognize him. But that firefighter, we have a picture. We had a difficult time getting access to the back area to do the rescue of the second floor, which was kind of in the pool in the backyard. We don't have the picture. There was a wrought iron gate in the way, and time was of the essence. So instead of waiting for the chainsaw, he used his size 13 boot and kicked a hole through the wrought iron gate and was able to break it open so that the crew could access with a ladder and get in there, get to the second floor and rescue. And you see the video, it was literally minutes to seconds before the room flashed over with full volume of fire. Unquestionably, she would have died that day. So I'm very pleased to announce Chuck Fedak, it's the battalion chief that was in charge in the incident, and firefighter Scott Vandenberg, one of the firefighters on the ladder who rescued Sue, the resident here in Rossmore. And Mayor, did you want to read Drew?
I just wanted to remind everybody, we have first responders, and we traditionally think of our firefighters and our police officers, but the first responders and the ones that set the tone for the whole operation are our dispatchers, our 911 dispatchers. People don't call 911 to chat, or they're not in good moods. They're terrified, and if you don't have a psychology degree as a 911 dispatcher, you probably need one, because it really is just keeping them calm, making sure they pay attention and listen to directions. And she just did a spectacular job. It helped them, and then when they got in, they just do what they normally do, because they just rock that way. So I would like to present to you, which ones are we doing? To Scott. Thank you so much. Thank you for just doing your job. Appreciate that. And then do we have, okay, perfect, if you could. And so, like I say, we have the 911 dispatch center at OCFA is quite spectacular. It's very calm and quiet in there. You'd never know that they were literally saving people's lives, and they have these huge computer screens that show where all the trucks are in the area. It really is a jigsaw puzzle that they need to figure out to make sure our guys are going in the right way. So do you want to bring something up, Michelle? Okay, absolutely. And here's Michelle Schutz from Trita's office. That's okay.
Good evening again, Michelle Schutz here on behalf of Assemblyman Trita. We heard your story from the mayor, and we're so impressed at your heroism. You guys have a great department, and you have a great chief, and it's amazing what you guys go through, and all your bravery and your hard work is much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Go in front of the.
Thank you guys so much. So next, we have the Business Spotlight Program, the Mayor's Business Spotlight Program. This last month was with Chartreuse Designs. They were not able to be here tonight, but we just wanted to still highlight them. They've been a business in Los Alamitos for a long time over on Cerritos. And just to remind everybody, the Business Spotlight Program is a free business recognition program designed to create awareness about the variety of local businesses located in Los Alamitos. The Business Spotlight Program is a great way for the city to say thank you, showcase great businesses in Los Alamitos, and also provide another tool to help our business grow. Chartreuse opened its doors over 20 years ago and is your local go-to store for custom sofas, sectional, along with dining collections, occasional tables, and one-of-a-kind pieces. So I would highly recommend you stop in and shop. Like I say, they're over on Cerritos, kind of over by the high school, and they will take care of you. We'd like to share with you the following sneak peek with you now, and after tonight's meeting, you can view the full video on the city's YouTube channel. These promotional videos are also provided to our business owners free of charge to help spread the word about their business.
Step into Chartreuse, where every corner is filled with warmth and comfort. Support this small business and discover a hand-picked selection of stylish and inviting pieces that transform any space. From luxurious sofas to soft throws, each item is designed to make you feel right at home. Whether you're updating a room or creating your dream space, Chartreuse has everything you need to add that perfect touch.
All right. And next we are going to Captain Gallagher. Come on up. And he's going to talk to us about the Los Alamitos Citizens Academy.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming here and being a part of this special night here to talk about the Citizens Academy. And it is with my privilege to stand before you tonight to share the success of the Los Alamitos Police Department's Citizens Academy and to be recognizing the outstanding group of individuals here tonight who completed this academy. The Citizens Academy is not just an educational initiative. It is a cornerstone of our mission to build a stronger, lasting relationship between law enforcement and the community that we serve. Over the past 9 weeks, our participants have gained firsthand knowledge of the challenges and responsibilities of policing. Through classroom instruction, ride-alongs, and hands-on training, they have developed a deeper understanding of what it takes to ensure public safety here in Los Alamitos. This program is about more than just learning. It's about strengthening the partnership between our police department and the residents. By engaging with our officers, asking tough questions, and witnessing our operations firsthand and up close, the graduates have become ambassadors of public safety, building the gap between law enforcement and the community in meaningful ways. Their dedication to this program demonstrates a commitment to civic engagement, transparency, and collaboration. They leave this academy equipped with knowledge that will help them share insight with their neighbors, foster constructive dialogue, and continue to make Los Al a safer place for all. On behalf of the Los Alamitos Police Department, I extend my sincere congratulations to our graduates. Their participation reflects the spirit of community partnership that is vital to effective policing. I would also like to thank the City Council, the City Manager, and our community for their continued support of this initiative, because together we are making Los Alamitos a model of trust and teamwork. Now I understand we have a video that we'd like to share, the first half of which I've been told is a bit of a sales pitch for our next academy, which we're excited about. And can we roll the video?
No, okay, I want you to step out of the vehicle.
Hands up, please.
So our police K-9 Elvis, as always, was the star of the show. He was a hit, but I did have the opportunity to come to several of the classes, and it was an amazing opportunity because it isn't just an amazing program that we started up, it was filled with amazing people, and that really made it meaningful. And we really appreciate all the hard work that everybody put into it, all the people that presented, the support that we had from the community, from the city council, from the city manager, and especially Robert Acosta, who spearheaded so much of what we did. Thank you. We have here tonight some certificates to present, which I'm going to allow the mayor to pass out.
Thank you. We'll go this side. Okay. There we go. Ann, excuse me, Ann Crosby. Diane Green. No, you need to stay up here for paparazzi photos later. Gary Lowe? Come on, man. Frank Marches. I bet I know who this one is. Maggie Marchese. Christina Marie Romero. Michelle Schutz. Is she still here? Oh, there she is. Lavette Van Voris. You look so surprised. Alexandria Van Voris, family affair. Juliana Yaki. There you go. I was able to attend a couple of the trainings, I believe, and they just really dug into everything police. From Elvis, they even had the coroner come and speak. Darn it, I missed that one. I heard it was really cool, though. Yeah, it was cool. So, and then the simulator that you saw, that was done over at Santa Ana PD, where they have this shooting simulator, and it was a little harrowing, right? You didn't want to shoot the wrong people? Yeah. So, no, it was great. I wanted to thank Robert and all the VIPs that put all the time and effort into it, all of our guest speakers. Elvis, he needs dog treats. But it was really good. I hope it continues. I hope we get more people involved. That just helps our relationship with our own police officers, as well as now you kind of have a little bit of empathy about what they do on a day-to-day basis. So when you see some of the political things, you understand that, no, they're good people out there. So, but thank you very much, and we're going to go over there and take a picture. All right? Yeah, that's fine.
I'll get it.
Hmm? I don't need again.
No, afterwards, I'm going to have Lily
Oh, okay.
for a speech. Robert, I don't need you up here.
No.
First you guys. Let's get the dips up real quick because they were pretty awesome.
Yes. Come on, Vic.
In the back.
Calling all VIPs, come on up.
You gotta speak louder.
You want to say that?
In the back.
Just make sure that you can see this, because then that means I can see you.
That way just a tad. Anna, that way just a tad. No, yes.
Gotcha.
Just one word.
Yes, yeah. And also I'd like to invite up Christina Romero, who's going to speak a little bit about her experience within the Academy.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. So I'm sitting in the front passenger seat of the police vehicle. It was my first time on a ride-along. It was early on in the program, and I didn't know what to expect. The officer proceeds to initiate a traffic stop. The lights go on. He sends word on the radio that he's stopping a car, and he's making his location known. The officer told me, stay in the car. If needed, hide behind the passenger door for protection. Wait, what? What? I'm just here to observe. Why do I need to hide behind the passenger door? So, okay. He opens the door quickly, and he walks towards the car with the hand on the hilt of his sidearm. And I'm feeling scared. And I'm also like, why is he being so aggressive just for a simple traffic stop? Right. So thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to speak with you about the significance of the Los Alamitos Police Department Citizens Academy, a program that stands as a beacon of community engagement and public safety. In today's world, fostering a strong and trusting relationship between law enforcement and the community is more important now than ever. The Citizens Academy serves as a vital bridge in this effort, providing citizens with a unique opportunity to gain firsthand insight into the operations, challenges, and responsibilities of our local PD. Through this program, participants are not only educated about the intricacies of law enforcement, but are also empowered to become active partners in community safety. The curriculum covers a wide range of topics, including chain of command, criminal investigation, which included a presentation from the coroner's office, the district attorney's office, and forensics. Some of the other topics covered were crime prevention, DUI investigations, traffic enforcement, parking enforcement, patrol operations, traffic stops, use of force policy, canine deployment, SWAT, air operations, emergency response, and shooting simulator training, all aimed at enhancing public understanding and cooperation. Excuse me. Moreover, the Citizens Academy helps dispel myths and misconceptions about police work by offering transparent and open dialogue. We gained a deeper appreciation for the dedication and complexity involved in maintaining public safety, fostering a more informed and supportive community. The open discussions with police officers were so valuable. The benefits of this program extend beyond the classroom. Graduates of this Citizens Academy often become ambassadors of goodwill, just as the mayor was saying, spreading good word, knowledge, and encouraging others to engage positively with law enforcement. And I believe that the ripple effect will strengthen our community bond and overall enhance the quality of life in LosAl. I would be remiss if I didn't mention to thank the VIPs. They really helped to organize our instruction and training, and setting up the snacks was also very, very nice. And coffee for me. Yep, snacks. So as you saw in this video, we were at the shooting simulation. Responding to a car break-in, I got shot. This shooting simulation scenario, it really drove home the point that the situation can change in an instant. Officers must always be alert to potential dangers and take efforts to mitigate the risks. Some people including myself, may see this as aggressive behavior, but these tactics could mean the difference between an officer going home or not. After the shooting simulator, I understood why Officer Peacock aggressively exited the vehicle. He had to be prepared for any situation. Now, I understand the risks the police officers undertake when they are on the job. Police officers are God's ministers of justice. God bless the police. In conclusion, the LosAl PD Citizens Academy is an invaluable asset to our community. It not only educates and informs, but also builds trust and collaboration between citizens and those sworn to protect them. I encourage everyone to consider participating or supporting this program to help ensure a safer, more connected community for all. Thank you.
To become a part of the one of the participants, you had to go through a background process, and I'll never forget the first time Christina came in, because the most important question she had right off the bat was, "Is there going to be coffee?" And you remember that. Now I'd like to invite up Michelle Sheets from Trita's office.
Again, this evening, thank you all for letting me speak again on behalf of my boss, Assemblyman Trita. If you can't tell, he is a very big supporter of public safety. So this academy, I got lucky. I was able to be part of it. So it was eye-opening to me. I've been to other police academies, and I have to say that the curriculum and the different speakers, it was so well-rounded, and I think everyone kind of had like a favorite different category and speaker, except for we all love Elvis, of course. It's just unreal for a police department to go through this effort to make sure the community understands the day-to-day. Like she was saying, like, you pull someone over, you don't know what's going to happen. And we had some great things that we got to do. Actually pulling people over, and you don't know when you walk up, and it is really eye-opening. So we appreciate everyone here in public safety very much, and inaugural class. I mean, that's very cool. So congratulations to everyone who did it. Thank you for everyone's hard work, so many people in this room. And again, on behalf of the Assemblyman, congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to invite Blake Perez, the Public Affairs Manager of Southern California Gas, who will have a presentation for us.
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, thank you for having me tonight. I don't have a slideshow, and that's a very difficult presentation to follow. I did my own City's Police Academy a few years ago, and it is such a great way to invest into that sort of community relationship, which is so critical for the success of public safety. So I applaud the city for starting that, and it's such a valuable tool. Yes. So yes, my name is Blake Perez. I'm the new Public Affairs Manager with SoCal Gas. I am new covering this region. I also cover the cities of Buena Park, Cypress, Fullerton, Fountain Valley, Huntington Beach, Gardner Grove, Stanton, La Palma, Seal Beach, and Westminster. So you'll see me all around. I do value all of my cities very highly, so I want to have a strong relationship with each one of you. Some of you have already met out in the fields. Really appreciate the time that you've given me for one-on-ones, and I'm happy to meet with all of you, as your time permits. I know being on City Council, being senior city staff, it's, especially for City Council, they call it a part-time job, but it's much more than that. Certainly recognize that. And I'm excited to be the bridge between our company and the community as a whole. Overall, we serve 21 million customers across 24,000 square miles from Fresno to the border, with the exception of San Diego County. We have a mission of safe, reliable, and affordable energy delivery today and ready for tomorrow. So what that really means is that we are ready to serve our customers where they're at now and providing safe, reliable gas service. But we're also invested into the future and looking at future forward technologies, such as bringing renewable natural gas into our system. Renewable natural gas is sourced from biological methods. So you can think about agriculture. As decomposition occurs, methane is emitted, that gas can be captured instead of going into the atmosphere and then put into our system. So we are looking into that and putting that fuel in our system and reducing the overall carbon footprint of our gas system as we deliver that fuel to customers. And then we're also looking and investing into hydrogen through our Angeles Link proposal with the California Public Utilities Commission to create and leverage our existing knowledge on underground pipeline infrastructure and our wonderful team and engineers, then seeing how we can bring in green hydrogen into the region to serve some of those hard to decarbonize industries, such as heavy manufacturing, shipping, trucking, those things that you have to find other means of providing that fuel source and power. So as I said, we are here to serve our customers today where they are, and I look forward to being part of the community and just seeing all of you at all the wonderful community events that I know that you all host. And I know I've been working with city staff to see where SoCal Gas can come in and support some of those community events, and so where we can be present and be connected, because we're here for all of the customers that live here and work here and have businesses here. I just want to close with a brief safety message. Safety is always our #1 priority, and April is National Safe Digging Month. So I brought for all of you, in addition to my cards, some stickers to help remind the community and yourselves, dial 811 before doing any underground digging, including if you just want to install a new sprinkler system, dial 811. Know where your underground utilities are, including gas, but also water, sewer, and fiber optic. So you're not accidentally cutting a line, causing a gas leak or worse. The service is free. You just dial 811. Someone will be out there within 2 business days to mark where those pipelines are, so you can avoid causing either damage to service to your own home, to your neighbors, or something much worse. We've definitely seen, that's where you get the flames coming out of the ground. We don't want that. We actually see that 60% of third-party excavation damage comes from people who don't call ahead of time. So please make sure that you call, make sure your contractor calls, make sure that if your contractor breaks the pipe, they call 911 at that point, and don't just try and bury it with dirt. We have seen that. So I would just encourage you all to stay safe out there, stay connected. I have my business cards for all of you, and I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best for the remainder of your meeting. Thank you.
Those VIPs really know how to party outside. They're having a good time. At this time, I'd like to invite Kalina North from OCTA forward for a presentation. Perfect.
Good evening, Mayor Hasselbrink and members of the City Council. We actually had a different photo for this PowerPoint. It was actually a team of us from OCTA that recently participated in the race on the base. Nice. But somehow they said, no, we got to keep it professional, so we kept this. We kept this. We might share that with the city in the future. My name is Josue Vaglienti. I'm a senior project manager in the capital project delivery team at Orange County Transportation Authority. I'm accompanied tonight by our outreach manager, Kalina North. Today we'll be giving an update on the Interstate 605 and Katella Avenue interchange project. The 605 Katella Avenue project is also known as Project M in OCTA's OC Go program, which is formerly was formerly known as a Measure M2 program. And the project has actually been accelerated by a decade. The project is in the city of Los Alamitos, near the boundary between Los Angeles and Orange counties. The environmental phase was completed in October of 2018, and more recently, the design phase was completed last September. Construction is set to begin later on this year in late June, and we anticipate wrapping up by late 2026, approximately an 18-month duration. The total construction cost is approximately $32 million and is funded by both federal and local Measure M2 sources. The project will make modifications to both northbound and southbound ramps connecting to and from Katella Avenue. Operational improvements along Katella Avenue for vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian modes are also included. Finally, the project closes the existing gaps in bike lane and sidewalk infrastructure along Katella through the interchange itself. Generally, the construction will include the following activities. The project will modify on and off ramps to minimize high-speed turning movements where they tie into Katella Avenue, construct new retaining walls, add Class 2 bike lanes in each direction of Katella Avenue, reconstruct sidewalk to provide a continuous sidewalk facility between Coyote Creek Channel and Epson Way, as well as adding new traffic signals at the interchange and relocating utilities where appropriate. The addition of Class 2 bike lanes mentioned in the previous slide are shown in green on this aerial map. The proposed Class 2 bike lanes will also conform to the city's 2021 Active Transportation Plan. In addition, the Class 2 bike lanes will also connect to the existing Class 2 bike lanes on Willow Street near the Coyote Creek Channel. Finally, the proposed Class 2 bike lanes will provide improved connectivity with regional bike trails such as the Coyote Creek Bike Trail and the San Gabriel River Bike Trail, which are shown in orange on that same aerial map. This slide shows where some of the enhanced green pavement markings will be installed along Katella Avenue. The hatched markings will identify bike lane transitions and help minimize potential conflicts with vehicular traffic. As with any construction project, short-term temporary impacts are expected. Generally, the contractor will be working weekdays, but may also need to work at night or on weekends. Some on and off ramps, including those shown on this slide, will either have temporary closures over weekends or in some cases for up to 10 days. These temporary ramp closures will include work such as temporary striping, temporary concrete barrier placement and removal, and ramp reconstruction activities. Motorists will be asked to plan ahead for lane reductions on Katella Avenue. Pedestrian and bike access will be affected for sidewalk and curb reconstruction work. However, construction crews will be required to maintain access on either side of Katella open during at any single time. Noise and vibration may be expected from backup alarms and asphalt grinding, among other activities. Now I'd like to turn it over to Kalina to speak a little bit more about our outreach efforts.
Thank you, Josue. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Again, Kalina North, Outreach Manager for the project. So OCTA's Public Outreach Team has a comprehensive communications plan. Let me go back. I can make sure I have the right slide here. Okay, so let me restart. OCTA's team began contacting our key stakeholders earlier this month to request briefings to share project information. Key stakeholders included Epson America, the Los Alamitos Chamber of Commerce, the Joint Force Training Base, Royal Oak Mobile Park, Oak Middle School, Los Alamitos Unified School District, Los Alamitos Medical Center, Rossmore Community Services District, and bike clubs, just to name a few. We're going to be meeting with these key stakeholders in the coming month. We're also hosting in-person and virtual meetings, which include a virtual meeting for the Rossmore community on Wednesday, May 14th at noon, and that is followed by a public webinar on Wednesday, May 28th at 5:30 p.m. We're also planning to have a Rossmore neighborhood meeting on Saturday, June 14th at Rush Park, and that will occur at 10 o'clock in the morning. We will continue to host these meetings throughout the duration of construction. So in the coming months, we're also planning to meet with first responders and local schools to share information about construction activities, impacts, as well as the schedule, and also ways to stay connected. The outreach team will be staffing information booths at community events. In fact, we participated in Los Alamitos Spring Carnival on April 19th. We had a great turnout at our booth, and we also plan to participate in the upcoming concert series here at the city. We also have a range of collateral information to distribute, including our FAQs, as well as fact sheet, which are translated into Spanish to reach the broadest audience possible. These documents are available on our website. Our website, again, contains project resources and information, and the public can also use the website to sign up for regular email alerts that will go out on a weekly basis throughout construction. Community members can also opt in to receive text messages. They will come in periodically as needed. We're also leveraging social media, as well as construction activities, closures, and detours, as well as impacts on an interactive map. So here is our website, as well as the project email and phone number, and that concludes our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. I know you're doing any outreach to all the neighborhoods and things, which is great, but usually they're not commuting on and off those off-ramps as much as like our businesses, the employees. So is there any way that we can, and I don't know how we can do this, but communicate to our businesses, because there are going to be times where commute times will be affected and they're stuck on an off-ramp or it was closed for all of our businesses?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. We have an email blast that we can send out to all of our businesses, so we can definitely pass that along.
And then have we also talked to Joint Forces Training Base, because when they have weekend
deployments? Yes.
Yeah, perfect, okay. And I think that's it. Mayor Pro Tem, you had something?
I forgot I pushed that up. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the effort. Thank you for coming and trying to alert us as much as possible to what you're going to be doing. I know that's not easy. I have two questions. You mentioned closures for 10 days. Is that 10 consecutive days?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, when I mentioned the 10-day closures, those will only be one instance, and it'll be on two separate ramps. The ramps that are located in the northeast quadrant, if maybe we can go back to maybe the first or second slide. Yeah, so the northbound 605 off-ramp going in the westbound direction towards Long Beach, as well as the northbound on-ramp, those two will require 10-day closures to get the pavement reconstruction activities that are critical to connecting the ramp done, but they will be done at different times.
Do you have any idea, is that why you're collaborating with the school district to try to minimize the impact to at least that traffic? Or?
To the entire community. And we'll know, we'll have a critical path schedule that the contractor is going to have available for us within the next couple of months, so that we'll know when this is coming, when those 10-day closures are coming, and we'll make sure to notify the community as soon as we know when they're scheduled to take place.
Okay, so then we'll have to notify everybody of Cerritos being their next closest. So my next question then is, how much notice will you get coming from either direction that the freeway is going to be closed? Not a blast, I'm talking someone, we're a transition city. People drive through us on accident. You're either going to Cypress or you're going to Long Beach. So how far down the street will there be signage that says, hey, pick another way if you get all the way there? Because to make a U-turn, I think you have to go all the way to
Compton.
Studebaker. I think it's Studebaker. So have you considered that at all?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. There's actually a document called a Transportation Management Plan that's put together that identifies what those detours are going to be in advance. And we're talking about several exits in advance, and there's typically changeable message signs that are placed out when those detours do happen.
Yeah.
That document is shared with adjacent cities as well, so that they're aware of what's happening. And we can surely revisit that once we kick off the meeting and have the city on board.
So I'm talking the actual sign,
actual
like not a packet.
Right,
I'm
changeable
talking,
message signs.
I'm coming from Madeiras, because I'm going to name businesses in my own city. I'm coming from Madeiras, and I intend to enter the freeway here. Where is the sign that will tell me I cannot enter here? Do y'all know, or do we pick that?
So we'll know where those signs are going to be placed, and they're typically in each direction approaching the interchange. So whether it's on Katella Avenue itself, whether it's on Willow, whether it's on the freeway, we'll have those changeable message signs placed well in advance of the ramps.
Okay, so freeway is cool, but we need them on the
arterials.
As well.
Yes.
Cypress is landlocked. If they make it all the way down here, we're going to get some upset phone calls because they're not going to know that they can't enter there, and they have to. Otherwise, stop at Cerritos.
Mhm.
And then, now I'm not asking you to do extra signage for Cypress, it's just an example. But people, I want them to know before they get all the way down here, because like I said, otherwise the U-turn is in Long Beach somewhere.
Mayor Pro Tem, may I interject?
Absolutely.
So the I-605 team works very closely with the city team. And so when they do have all that plans and everything like that, we review those plans. And so we can, assist them with placement of those message boards. Again, along with our engineering team, they're very, very communicative with us.
Perfect, thank you.
I did have one quick question, just logistics. 605 going south, you're exiting Katella, you do the loop around, you come off on Katella. If it's in the evening, you're looking back, staring into the sun. And then once you get onto Katella, it's a very, very quick merge into oncoming traffic. Are you addressing that very, very quick merge? Because it is super dangerous.
Yes, Mayor. That's actually one of the operational improvements that's part of this project. It'll eliminate that quick merge that you just described from that southbound loop ramp into City of Los Alamitos. It'll actually be reconfigured so that that lane does not merge. It'll just add a lane onto Katella.
Outstanding. And then City Manager, is OC Sand District done with their extension on Cerritos?
Done is a nice word. There's still some work that they're going to have to do, but we're getting closer. Yes.
Okay, but by the time this starts, because if we close down Katella and Cerritos, oh.
No, and I will hand it to the OCTA team and then also to Ron and his crew about really trying to figure out ways to mitigate and move around construction schedules to really try to alleviate that amount of pain. And, again, we are a small city, but I do appreciate and want to commend the amount of work that you put in and the beatings that you've taken on behalf of Mr. Noda over there. And I know that he has worked hard to ensure that we have really kind of tried to address most of those issues to try to really mitigate all of the issues that we're going to face with this project.
Perfect, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Just want to say thank you for your presentation. While you were speaking, I took the message to text. I texted it and immediately got a response back. So looks like your technology is on point. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right. Before we go to oral communication, City Manager, you had some housekeeping items for the agenda?
Madam Mayor, just some housekeeping items for sake of everyone here in the audience. I did want to let you know that I've pulled item 11A from the agenda. It simply needs more work, and I also realized that while I was making changes to it, I did not save any of those changes, and so they never made them into the final report. So we will be pulling item 11A from discussion this evening. And then also, I just wanted to provide a quick update, and it kind of runs along the same parallel as the presentation that you had from the Citizens Academy today about transparency, collaboration, and working together, and how exactly those conversations are beneficial to not just the city, but to the community as well. At the last council meeting, we had a number of residents come forward and make suggestions about a city project that we had done on Lexington, namely the installation of angled parking in order to create additional parking. This was a project that had been approved earlier in the year. And as a pilot program, we have been going around to different areas throughout the city looking at different opportunities in order to address parking issues, but also apply some traffic calming measures to slow down traffic on our residential streets. When we do those things, we know that they're new. Perfect example is here in Old Town West, where we actually went and did a number of projects, and for about the first 2 months, everybody looked at the paint on the ground and said, well, this looks strange, what does this mean? That being said, to date, we've been able to actually show that it has significantly slowed down traffic in Old Town West, which is really the goal of those projects at the end of the day. But it also took a little bit of pivoting. Halfway through, we realized that we needed stop signs that flashed and had lights in order to really make them seeable. Same thing has happened here on the Lexington project. We had a number of residents who came and said, hey, there's a way to make this project better. One of those was really taking into account the fact that if you have angled parking going into residential single-family homes, that those lights are going to shine right into those homes. And then second, that putting those angled parking on that side of the street really did impact and limit the amount of visibility that people had when they were turning either onto Lexington or off of Lexington or into their houses. I was out there, had a council member come by and walk the property with me after knowing that I was out there. Having talked to the team and knowing that there's, since the project was completed under budget, we have enough money to go back in and make those improvements that the residents were asking for. And so staff's been instructed to go ahead and start working on or scheduling the work that needs to be done, which will include the installation of a stop sign in order to slow down the traffic that's coming off of the base, but then also a reverting of the angled parking to the previous parallel parking on the east side of Lexington, which is against those single-family homes. So the nice thing about this is it does allow us to still accomplish some additional parking in the area. It allows us to address the safety issues that are there. And also, it allows us to start the next phase of conversations, which is what is the next piece of the puzzle that we might want to incorporate in this area in order to improve parking. But again, it gets to the fact that residents took the time to come in and talk about the project, talk about ways that, hey, we can make this a little bit better, and then the council giving staff the latitude to really kind of say, hey, these are great ideas, let's implement them as quickly as possible. So I'm happy to report that, again, the collaboration between the residents and the city continues to bear fruit.
Great. And then to follow up with that, on Saturday, I live the street over, so I visited all 18 homes on Lexington and gave them information about the improvements, thanked them for their input and just the level of professionalism that they came. A couple of them, this was their very first city council meeting, so it was important to me that they were heard. And so by the time I got back home and dried myself off because it started raining, I had already had some texts and emails thanking me, asking other questions and more clarifications and stuff. So that's exactly how city government works. We're your representative, and we're here to make the city better because we live here also. So thank you very much for those who came and spoke out and offered suggestions, not just complaints. We certainly appreciate that, and hopefully you'll see the improvements as we move forward in the next phase. Great. So now we are going on to oral communications.
Madam Mayor, if I may, just for the record, I'd like to state Councilmember Hibbard arrived at 6:31 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Okay, oral communications. This is the appropriate time to come forward to speak on any agenda item. There is one public hearing on tonight's agenda. Comments will be called for the public hearing at that appropriate time. Comments will not be called for items not listed as public hearings. I would just request that everyone fill out a speaker card or sign in on the podium sheet. This allows staff to contact you for follow-up if needed. So do we have any public comments? Nobody?
My name is Kathy Salai, and I'm a 38-year resident of Los Alamitos. And I appreciate that Lexington is getting corrected. Can I ask what the public hearing is? You didn't identify it, so.
It's on the agenda under public hearing, the last page.
Okay. All right, so it has nothing to do with what I came for. I looked at the agenda and was hoping again, this is my second time to come and ask about the corner at Cerritos and Los Alamitos Boulevard. And though you updated us on Lexington, there is no conversation about that. There's no...
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yes, the completion is on the agenda, which is what really concerns me.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, if I can. There's actually an item for the council to receive a report about the different options that they might want to consider at Cerritos and Los Al Boulevard. I believe it's item
11B.
It's 11B.
Well, 11B talks about signing off on the completion of the project. Not true? Because there are
No, I'm sorry. 11B. So there's two items on the agenda. One is a closeout of the item or the work on Lexington for the company that did that work. There's also a RFP for striping on Cerritos, on Katella.
Okay, so there will be information
There's
coming about that
an
tonight?
entire item and a discussion, and 4 options for the council.
Okay,
to
but
consider.
that's not a time when I can speak, correct?
Well, you can talk right now, yes.
Right, but not when you're discussing?
That, it's not a public hearing.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'll wait to hear for comments on that. I'm concerned that it's been so long, though, and it continues to get worse and worse and worse on a pretty regular basis. Okay, so here are my other things. We have a whole lot of activities coming up in the city of Los Alamitos. Most of them have to do with community and Pine Street and the Easter or spring, whatever you want to call it, event. But I noticed Parks and Rec are not meeting monthly. They canceled their meeting. Their January meeting was last minute changed. I understand it was scheduled for January 1, but that probably could have been broadcasted a lot sooner. February they met. March was canceled. April they met. May is canceled. They're not meeting again till June. Are they being bypassed? Are they being, what's happening that the Parks and Rec Commission is not meeting?
Madam Mayor, I can respond to that if you'd like. I will say this, that typically we only have our commissions meet when they have items to review or to give direction to staff. So I'm sorry, is there agenda items for the Parks and Rec Department in May?
We have consolidated our items. We request our commissioners often to attend a lot of our 24 events. And so because of the time commitment that they require, we try to consolidate the items because they have to come out to all 24 events. So that is part of the reason.
Actually, I also just realized there will be a meeting because we're going to be doing a budget presentation to the Parks and Rec Department in order to be able to get their input about things that they would like to see moving forward. So.
Okay, can I just make a comment about that? The appearance is that they are being circumvented or bypassed, and they are not being part of all the community activities. I sat on and attended many Parks and Recs and commission meetings, and they were intricately involved in programming, scheduling, what the community wanted, because they all live here. They know what the community wants. Those of you who don't live here don't quite understand us as well. I hope there's no disagreement on
I'm
that.
happy to discuss this with you if you would like after the meeting or at a separate time. It's simply from the standpoint that we do have a number of community events here, and I think 28 annually that we put on. And I do know that the rec department and the rec chair actually do have a hand in the scheduling and how exactly those come about, and then also the work that we're doing in terms of renovation of all the parks. So I don't know if I would agree with the statement or the perception that they're being cut out of the loop on stuff. And I will ask that question to the, since I was answering your question, I believe that I will ask that question to the board and see if they feel like they are being cut out of stuff. And I can report that back at the next council meeting.
Okay. Well,
Best to get it from the horse's mouth.
It's an appearance from the community that everything is being driven down rather than being driven up.
We do run all of our programs and services and events through the commission.
Okay. All right. Okay, my last thing is the LATV. I don't know if you've ever watched it on Channel 3, but oftentimes we're getting a little mirror window, which means somebody's recording this on their cell phone. It's not going off of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So also there's no schedule. Nobody knows what city council meeting or what planning commission meeting they're watching until a date comes up. And sometimes you're sitting there a good hour or the end of the meeting, and then they say our next meeting is, and you go, whoa, this was 6 months ago. So we need to find somebody that has technical skill and video tech ability and that can manage this similar to what we were used to. Because what we're getting is not what we were used to. We used to have ongoing, and then I'm also concerned that we're not doing any other public access other than government meetings. There's a peg charge on there for public access, and I don't see any public access in there, only government. And I guess I can address that with Spectrum. I'd rather not, but I don't want to pay a peg charge when, and franchise fees, when the public is not involved with the LATV programming.
Yeah, at this time, this is turning into much of a conversation type thing, so I would just.
Yeah, and I'm willing to answer these questions. I just think that there's a better forum for it, if you would like to.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any other availability. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just wanted to thank you for the Citizens Academy. My wife wanted me to participate. I was reluctant to get involved, but because I was busy working, but we did it every Tuesday night, and it was very good, and I was glad I was part of it. Thank you for the second thing I wanted to say was thank you for straightening out the Lexington Avenue situation with the residents. I talked to the residents on this street. I live in that neighborhood. I've lived in this area 63 years. I don't know. I was born and raised right over the bridge in Long Beach, and I've been in here my whole life, 63 years in the area. I can say you're doing a good job, City Council. I'm glad that we're fixing the Lexington, and you're doing a good thing. They're great with the police department. You're always responsive with the emails with my wife, Chet, and the rest of you, Ron and Shelley, and Councilman Lowe and Dobie, and all you guys are great, and keep up the good work. And I know we all take hits, but you guys are doing a good job. Thank you.
Just wanted to hear you say thank you for a lot of great things that you do, but just my input on the Cerritos and Los Al Boulevard. I know you all gonna, talk it out today and possibly vote. No, I'm not sure, but I just want to ask that as you're looking at all the different options, I know the costs vary, and but one thing that it's really, I think, really important for that area is the cyclists, protecting the kids who are on the e-bikes and their bicycles when they're traveling to school, to the high school. I had 3 kids go through the high school, and I've sat at that intersection of, on Cerritos turning left onto Los Al Boulevard, and so I've seen a lot of, I think, pretty close calls for the e-bikes, and because parents are in a hurry, and student drivers, young high school drivers, are in a hurry to get to school. So as you look at the options, I know that the prices, the costs are going to vary, but to keep the kids in mind, the ones on the e-bikes, and trying to do the option that that makes sense, not just for them, but I know we have a lot of complaints around the traffic that was created. So kind of looking at a whole big picture and considering all the everyone who's impacted by that intersection. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? You guys don't want to speak? Okay. All right. So updates from the mayors. I'm sorry, public humiliation is always fun. Neighborhood Cleanup Day. We're going to be having a Neighborhood Cleanup Day on Saturday, May 17th on Pine Street with our waste hauler UWS. You can bring your bulky items and dispose of them between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. We'll also have a shred event for any important documents you have, so you can visit the city's website for more information, and that is Saturday, May 17th. And just a couple of things that I was involved with. I attended the CPRS, which is the California Park and Rec Society, Division 10, which is our division. And we were able to recognize Precious Life Shelter And then also a dear, sweet little lady, Rachel Solis, and she volunteers in a lot of the senior programs. I think the Dine and Do, and she was just spectacular. I attended my ALEC board meeting. We approved a site in Newport Beach by Fashion Island for housing development. I attended the spring carnival with, I don't know, a couple thousand. It was very, very crowded. And then we were also able to formally introduce Elvis. Kenny Brandenberry was there on site, and Elvis did a fantastic presentation of how he gets different guys. We had one of our sergeants dressed up in the bite suit, and there was a certain smirk on some of our police officers when he had a dog hanging from his bicep. So that was always a little fun. But it was just a fantastic day. And then this last Saturday was Arbor Day, and we planted a tree over in Little Cottonwood Park. And I'm particularly proud of this because we were just named Tree City USA, which goes through a pretty rigorous test of what we're doing with our tree program. And this was also, when the foundation was formed a couple of years ago, this was one of our 3 goals. We had the police canine, so check that off. We had our adaptive skills, adaptive learning, special needs kids for park and recreation, check that one off. And then now the Tree City USA Public Works wanted that designation, and we were able to help them get about 20 trees. So we're extremely proud of those initiatives and more things that we can do. So it was terrific. I was in Sacramento this last week for the City Leaders Summit. A lot of the focus was on homeless programs. So when we would go into the rooms with some of our state legislators, I thanked them for recognizing the homeless problem, said that we were blessed. We didn't have a huge problem with homeless. We do have resources available. I think we have more homeless liaison officers than we do identified homeless.
This is
At
true.
some point, yes. But we're also very sensitive that our city is probably one of the more unique ones. So I wasn't going to go in there without an ask, so I pivoted over to our senior program and made some great connections, got some great resources, both at the county and the state and the federal level, to possibly get some grants, fundings, and just programs that are already in there, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it was an exhausting week, but I think we had very, very good progress and made a lot of really good contacts. So, and with that, I will turn it over to the city manager.
I have nothing else to report.
Okay. All right. Warrants. Per the council's accelerated warrant policy, questions will be noted by staff and followed up after the meeting. Questions regarding tonight's warrants that were received by the deadline were sent out to council today before the meeting and made available on the website. Are there any new questions for follow-up before the next council meeting? Okay, can I get a motion in a second? I'll second it. And roll call, please.
Mayor Hasselbrink?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Doby?
Yes.
Councilmember Hibbert?
Aye.
Councilmember Lowe?
Aye.
Councilmember Nafolda?
Yes.
Okay. All consent calendar items may be acted upon in one motion unless a council member requests action on a specific item. Do any council members want to pull an item? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to move the consent calendar?
I'll move the consent calendar.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that was rather quick. Let me get down to, okay, so discussion item 11A was pulled. So we'll be going to discussion item 11B, which is the Los Alamitos Boulevard and Cerritos Avenue intersection improvements. And take it away, Chet.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And before I turn it over to Dr. Noda and our traffic engineer, Ms. Prod, I'd like to give just a brief history of how we arrived at this spot. Back in 2020, 2021, the city approved an active transportation plan. That was, the goal there was to look for different ways to be able to move traffic safely through the city, both vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle traffic. Like any plan, it's good the day you make it, and then you have to constantly revisit it. The interesting thing about California traffic laws is they change literally every year. And so if you are not staying absolutely current with it, a plan that was perfect 5 years ago won't be perfect 5 years after you adopt it. What we have here is, I think, a opportunity to really kind of take a deep dive into a planned project that was approved as part of that ATP, went through the Traffic Commission, went through the City Council, and really kind of take into account what exactly the real world application looks like and how exactly we might be able to improve upon it. One of the things, though, that I will point out is that we try to start all of our conversations from a position of data. So I will let Mr. Noda explain what they have gone through in order to gain some insight about what exactly is happening on this site, and not just anecdotal data, but actual traffic counts, video, staff sitting out there and watching the actual traffic and the interaction between pedestrians, bikes, and cars. One of the interesting things here is really about how exactly do we safely move people from point A to point B. And what you are doing tonight is really kind of taking a look at 4 different options that the staff has been able to develop with that data, and really kind of give staff some direction to go back and design what exactly it is that the council would like to see today at this location. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Noda.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, member City Council, city staff. Before we start, we have some video that we'd like to show. So ultimately, we took 7 days of video at that intersection. And so this is just a snippet of it. It's about a couple minutes long. And we, again, like City Manager Simmons stated, we have our traffic engineer up here, Farhad. But this is, as you can tell, the intersection of Cerritos and Los Alamitos Boulevard. At the top right, you can see that the time right there, it's 8:07, so it's a little bit. So this is, we recorded, again, 7 days. And you can see the traffic there. You can see the kids walking, and then you can see cars going. So, again, 7 days. The next slide will tell you, but I can verbally tell you right now that the 2 days that we recorded was February 18th and February 19th. As we continue to watch here, you can see the traffic pattern, left turns, right turns, straight, going straight through Los Al Boulevard. Again, kids going. Please note that, when we were watching this, our traffic engineer, who does not live in the city, was stating, like, I can't believe you have so many kids going away from school. They should be going to school. And we were saying that, well, yeah, they're going because at that intersection, you have a donut shop, right? You used to have a coffee shop there. You have food items. And then more importantly, about a block away, you have Tubby's Liquor, right? Where they're going to go get their, drinks and, chips and candy and get ready for school and everything.
Non-alcoholic beverages,
yes.
Just to be clear what exactly.
Yes. Right, and then of course on the other side too, we have the coffee shop there, right? Which is, I've been there a couple times in the morning, and you always have kids there, probably doing last minute homework because I see them on their laptops and stuff like that. So again, you have traffic. You have, again, the traffic pattern here, as you can see, is you're going to have kids coming from all sides, right? They use that parking lot where the Sizzler's at a lot of time. Parents use that as a drop-off. So then again, they're crossing the street. They park down the street over there by the on Los Al Boulevard by the hotel. So again, they're fluxing down, walking down the street. So again, this is just a snippet, but overall we had 7 days of traffic pattern. Did you want to add anything, Farhad, about the video? Can you come to the mic?
The reason I have this corner southeast, I want you to see the queue on northbound Los Al. That's where they make a right turn. That line is for the right and through. You can see they back up to Cerritos. Sausalito. The same thing happened in the legs for westbound on Cerritos, eastbound and southbound on Los Al. The same kind of queue exists. The problem is being when there is no pedestrian, that line dissipates a lot faster. So that's what I want you to pay attention, because we have the other corner that is going to show the same thing on, look at the eastbound, Cerritos is all the way to the bridge, backing up. So, and you can see there are bikes and everything else on that one. I'll answer.
Yeah, so again, we have a lot of factors at this intersection. You're dealing with school traffic. Again, when we get to the data count, we will tell you, but a lot of it is just commuter traffic. You see a large 18-wheel big rig rolling by, but there's a lot of commuter traffic. You got vehicles doing U-turns. As you can see, as we watch the video here, this is on the opposite end. You got bikes coming in. You got walkers coming in. You got a lot of different modes of transportation. And you got to also add what you won't see, but buses and et cetera. You see the volume that's coming in there, right? This is 8:17. I believe the high school starts approximately at 8:30. So, in the next 15 minutes or so, it's going to be huge. You can see right here what, again, causes the backup is that white vehicle right there trying to make a right turn cannot make a right turn because of the pedestrians crossing. So once the pedestrian crosses, as you can see, now here comes the cars taking that right turn. Okay, and then, all right, but then watch, we got a U-turn here. And so that stops the traffic, right? And it keeps going, and then you're gonna see a secondary car coming pretty soon, doing another U-turn. You see, so again, we got a lot of different things going on, okay? We can go to the PowerPoint presentation. So like City Manager Simmons stated, we did 7 days of videos, we did 2 days of collection data. I personally went out there and sat there for 15, 20 minutes looking at things. We had the engineering team out there looking at different things. So again, we tried to take a look at this at a very, very, detailed level, right? And so here are the vehicle counts of that. Like I stated earlier, it's February 18th and 19th. I believe that's a Tuesday and Wednesday. The reason why we did multiple days is, again, typically, school starts at 8:30. They're typically off at 2:30. But on Wednesday, it's minimum day. They get out earlier. And then on Monday, they actually start school later at 9 o'clock. So they have varying schedule. And then secondly, if you have sports, you're not getting out at 2:30. You're getting out at 4:30. You're getting out at 5. So that is a basic, you got kids doing zero period, right? One thing that the traffic engineer was asking me is like, school starts at 8:30 typically. Why are kids walking away from school at 9 o'clock, 9:15? And I had to educate him that there are certain kids that, like for instance, I'm aware if you're on the surf team, your surf module is on the first period, right? And so they're surfing wherever they're at Seal Beach, I'm just presuming, and then they're coming in. That's why they're walking around before their second period starts, because that's their first period. So you got a lot of varied schedule. Secondly, another thing that's varied is the fact that you get to leave campus for lunch. So around noontime, you see a lot of kids walking because they're going for lunch, right? And so we have a lot of different aspects that's going on with the high school. Well, let's take this vehicle count. We did, again, those 2 days. In the AM, we went from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. On midday, we went 11:30 to 1:30, and on PM, it's 4 to 6. Okay? We found out, and it's not on there, but the peak time in the AM is between 7:15 to 8:15. So between 7:15 and 8:15, we had the highest concentration of vehicles crossing that intersection. At midday, the highest concentration was 12:15 to 1:15, and of course, in the PM, the highest concentration was 4:45 to 5:45. So I know it's really small here, but the counts here, the first number, I'm going to stand up here. As you can see, if I'm pointing over here, that first number is the AM number, okay? The middle number is the midday number, and the last number that's in parentheses is the PM number, okay? So just, again, if you take a look at this, and I'm gonna come over here if you can, you could see, which was really interesting to me, that in the morning, taking a left turn, coming from Cerritos, taking a left turn, because this is a huge drop-off area, right, for kids. You only have 47 people in the morning taking a left turn, which is very surprising, right? Then you look right here, but we have 445 people going straight, and then look on the other side going that way, we have 761. Now that's not the whole day, all right? That's just the time frame. If you go back to my thing here, that's just the time frame of where we measured, okay? So you can see that there's a lot of cars going. Now you look at this end, right? We got 577 going straight, but we only have 153 taking that right turn. Still a lot of cars, but you got a lot of cars going straight. That tells us a little bit that, yes, we do have parents dropping off their kids or kids driving their own vehicle, but a lot of it is what we call commuter traffic, people going to work, or if you look at it, coming home, 532, right? And over here, 761. They're either coming home, or guess where they're going? They're going to the 605 freeway to go home the other way, right? Leaving work, all right? So again, here are the data counts right here. You got midday, 423 going here. In the morning, like 656 cars are going down Los Al Boulevard towards Katella, right? And then over, but on here, right, in the morning, like I said, 577. So again, this is the vehicle count, like I stated. All right, so here's option one. We came up with 4 options. Okay, now the 4 options we have, I just want to say it could be a combo, right? But this is the 4 options. The first option here is basically going back to how it was. All right, so how it was means here is we're coming down and we would just eliminate that bike lane from Sausalito to Cerritos. So you'll have a bike lane that comes down, but once it hits Sausalito, right, it is eliminated. And then it will be no bike lane, and then the bike lane will, again, continue once you cross Cerritos, going past the high school into Long Beach. Okay. Any questions on option 1? It's pretty easy.
Yeah. How does that impact our active transportation plan?
So that is the million-dollar question. It actually would create a segment without a bike lane or a bike path route. Now, that being said, looking at all of these options, it becomes, all right, is there something else that we can do in that area in order to accomplish the same goal, connection piece? And that is really, if the council's pleasure was to look at what was for staff to really develop a plan around option 1, we would try to develop an alternative that might see the traffic flow on another street, which will be hard to do. Or we look at different ways that we might be able to take the existing infrastructure and make it work. The issue that we're running into is that, like I said, traffic laws change, and Farha can get into the details of this, but largely what's happened in 2024, I believe it was September of 2024, the state changed their rules when it comes to different types of bike traffic facilities or bike lane types. And the long and short of it is, in order for us to do the simple fix that we see for here, which would just be to put the sharrows on the lane, that, share the lane, look out for bikes, that kind of thing, that's now illegal on streets that have a traffic speed of more than 30 miles?
More than 30, correct.
More than 30 miles per hour. So that would no longer be an option for this particular site.
What's our speed limit? I thought it was 30.
Not on Los Al Boulevard. I believe it's 40.
Okay. I could have swore someone said it was 30.
10 mile per hour difference.
So the long and short of it is that the staff would need to actually start looking at more creative ideas would ultimately, and you're going to see a couple more options that might actually allow you to accomplish what you're looking for. The issue with them is one of them will be probably prohibitively expensive. The other one is a little less, I'll call it costly, but at the same time might cause other issues in other sections. So I'd encourage, there's one option here, and it is the scrambled that would allow for the existing improvements to remain by taking into account the different turning styles of what exactly happens on the corners. So once you see that, you'll be able to see what exactly your options will be.
Okay, I got 2 other things that you've already spoken on, so I'm hoping that we can kind of go as we go.
Yes, no problem. You can stop me.
All right, so the first thing is, why don't we have a no right turn on a U-turn sign? You have people making a right turn, but people making a U-turn. Typically, you have a no right turn on a U-turn, since I'm assuming that U-turns are legal at that.
Please, I'll have the traffic engineer clarify, but typically you do not put you put a no U-turn sign if one is, again, we could do a vehicle count and do an assessment of that. But typically, you don't do a U-turn sign. You replace a U-turn sign if there's a continuous green arrow. Right, so you look at like the intersection of Katella and Los Al Boulevard, there are some no U-turn sign there because you have continuous green arrows.
So
right,
what
and
I'm
this intersection
specifically
does not.
talking about is where that white Tesla had to stop
Yes.
because there was someone making a legal U-turn. So I'm looking for the prohibition of them having to stop in the middle of traffic and assuming that they will when there is a legal U-turn happening. That, you
So-
picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, I'm understand. We can take a look at that. Yes.
Okay. And just run your film back, because
Correct.
I
No.
got it watching your film.
Yeah.
And then my last thing is, and this is me being mischievous. How do you know where those cars are going? You say that, oh, in the middle lane, they're commuter traffic. But I know for a fact that a ton of these rascals will go through the intersection and turn at whatever that street is, Lala, and they're looking for parking over there. So they're not necessarily going through, they're just looking for a place to park their car. And I see them because I do a drop off at that middle school.
No, Mayor Pro Tem, you're right. It's just assumption on my end.
So basically, option one, to revert back to stay in compliance with the required active transportation plan is not an option.
They would have to do some finagling.
Right.
We would have to go back and revisit what exactly we would put into the active transportation plan in order to make it cover the entire city. Now, that is doable. It's just a question of we'd have to identify what exactly the solution is. And that will take a little bit more work because obviously this was designed because it was the most, I'll call it the most likely pathway of bike traffic.
So we have to stay in compliance with the state mandate.
Like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I'll just say that, so other cities that, well, first off, if a bike is to continue on that bike path and continue biking on the street, that's legal to do.
That is correct.
That is
A
correct.
bike is considered to be a
So
park.
you are correct. It just like anything, I think the easiest, at least for these conversations, the easiest way to think of this is a bike is just a car with two wheels. It has to follow all of the traffic laws that a car would if it's on the street.
So other cities that have had similar right-hand turn situations that have bike imprinted on the concrete or on the asphalt, today that you can no longer do that, but they could when they put that on there in various places. I see it.
And we do have some of those in the city already.
Okay. So those are all grandfathered in because they're there.
That's exactly it. Yes.
But you just can't do it anymore.
You can't, they won't certify. First of all, you can't, I think any engineer would have a problem putting their engineering stamp on it in order to,
You see that all over the place.
Well, and that's,
I see it all over the place.
Yeah.
Again, you have to look at the miles per hour, right? So for me, in Rossmore, they have that all over, but residential is considered 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
You
I'm just
have to
saying,
look at the miles
like
per
I see it
hour.
on El Segundo Boulevard. I was turning El Segundo and PCH.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
speedy street. I see all the bike stamps. I mean, almost everywhere I go.
And that's going to be I think the issue that we're going to run into is that the vast majority of, well, not the vast majority, that's an unfair statement, but a lot of the bike facilities that you see today, if they tried to paint them today, they wouldn't be able to, according to state law.
I'm not sure how we're going to have bike lanes then.
Especially when it's a state mandate. So, yeah.
Okay, if that's it, I can continue to option number 2. So option number 2 would stay, and just for clarification purposes, will continue to have the bike lanes, but then at the intersection, as you saw in the video, there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, right? And so we, in option 2 here, people know it as a scramble, but the actual technical term is called an exclusive pedestrian phase. This option would allow pedestrians to cross the intersection at all angles. As you can see here, they can go straight from one corner to another or cross diagonally, right, at one time. And then once they are, quote, stopped, right, no more pedestrian crossing, then vehicles can take their turn, right? One of the things that is note here is technically you should have about 40 seconds or so, right, to cross, right? But like say you're gonna go from, if you look down here, right, that red building going to that vacant lot, it would take about 20 seconds and I believe another 20 seconds to cross from that vacant lot down to where El Pollo Loco is, right, for a full 40 seconds. But if you let everyone cross, right, okay, and then you go 20, right, you're adding up to about 80 seconds, right, for all 4 intersections, 20, 20, 20, 20. No, that's all right. It's 40, 40, 40, 40, that's 80 seconds. But if you let everyone cross, you're reducing that time in half. So then you can get more time for the vehicles to go do their thing. And when the vehicles go, then there's no obstruction from pedestrians, okay? So this is option 2, again, putting a scramble in with, and again, the name is exclusive pedestrian phase. If this option is selected, it can be complemented by synchronizing the signal at this intersection, again, Cerritos and Los Alamos Boulevard, with the timing light over at Bergman Way and Los Alamitos Boulevard. Okay, so you know, the team here was very smart and proactive that when the hospital came in, we requested the hospital do some off-site work, so the cabling to sync the lights are already in place. Okay, so again, we can put the scramble here, and then we could sync those 2 lights, and then we can have them working together to again increase traffic flow.
You going to 3?
We're going to 3.
1 moment, please.
No problem.
So 40 seconds for pedestrians, how long for vehicles?
How long is the vehicle so they can go? If it's 40 seconds for a pedestrian, how long would the vehicle have?
The traffic, it depends on the demand, but generally about 45 seconds for the through traffic. So it's almost the same for both of them.
And that's how that intersection works is?
Correct. What it is, you have about 10 seconds of the walk, and then you have about 33 seconds of don't walk. So for each leg you cross is about 40 seconds. So for 2 legs, that's 80 seconds in a cycle. So if you get that through together, you cut that in half because there is only 1 pedestrian per cycle. So you can add that 40 seconds to the other movements.
Awesome. The only thing I would, if that becomes an option, is to consider the fussing signs, the ones that tell you you've got 5, because you've seen children cross the street, they're all looking at their phone, something that, or look up, or you got 10 seconds, or can that be considered?
So once we go in and do modification, it's just like ADA, like in terms of buildings, we have to make that intersection ADA compliant. So that means that we have to take a look at not just the signal head, right? But we have to take a look at the sidewalk, and then most likely we will put, I know where you know where I'm going, where you're gonna have to have ADA sound going into there. So it'll be a visual thing and also a sound thing as well.
So, and I know I'm putting the cart before the horse here, but we also had a meeting where we talked about transition and how exactly you would accomplish that. Obviously, we'd have to work very closely with the school district in order to make sure that they're passing out information about, hey, this is a new way that this might work. We also would probably, with the acting chief's blessing, we would probably do some heavy enforcement in the area. And ultimately, I would also look to putting, from a temporary standpoint, we have crossing guards throughout the city, having one at that location in order to make sure that just for I'll call it the transition period, that everybody there's somebody who's on site directing the traffic on where to go and such in order to make that work. But it's new. It's definitely something that hasn't been done in the city before. That being said, communication would be important in order to make sure that would work going forward.
So we're in April. School is out in 24 days. I assume that this would become active in August again?
It would have to be, we would have to, first of all, go and design it through the engineers, and then depending on the cost, either being able to bid it or look at the ability to do informal bidding. But definitely after the school year, for sure.
And I've seen this done successfully in downtown Carlsbad, very much a touristy area, and at the same time, all the cars stop. Everybody literally scrambles. What's great about it is if you're over at Valentino's and you need to get to high school, you can go diagonally. And you don't have to worry about cars turning right because there is they can't turn on red, any of them. So it is extremely safe, and I've watched it in a very high-functioning tourist area, and it's absolutely spectacular. as far as there's time for cars and then there's time for pedestrians, and neither the two shall meet. So, okay.
Did anybody count how many bikes are using the bike lane?
I'm sorry. I'm glad you asked that question because it was literally the first question I asked. And I want to say that we were before between 7 and 10 when we were looking at the in the morning traffic for.
The count for that, but I had to give you footage.
Yeah.
For the whole morning, the whole day. So I watched the whole day.
Okay.
I think he's asking for how many bikes? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. How many bikes are we talking about?
The one on that 2 minutes, they were only.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying using the bike lane, because I see them mostly on the sidewalk. All this started because we took away a right lane turn. And if nobody's using the bike lane, it just seems to me, just get rid of the bike lane.
But
Instead
we have to because of the active
Can we
transportation.
put it somewhere else?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I think we're fine with the active transportation program.
Yeah. Let me take a step back here because it'll give you.
I just think like we're overthinking.
Right.
I think
so
too. Diagonal and all this stuff, and that's just going to add time. I mean, it's impacting me because I drop my daughter off a couple times a week, and all this started. And I personally, it's anecdotal, but I don't see too many kids using that bike lane. And it seems to me like if someone were to use it, it's someone who's actually cycling for exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just there's the long backup, right, to turn right. And if we add 40 seconds or 120 seconds or whatever to allow other people to walk at the same time and then turning, I mean, it seems to me like we're still going to have a huge backup.
You're correct. You definitely are. I think that the issue here is the active transportation plan. The whole goal of it is to move people multimodal from point to point. When you have a gap within that service area, people will figure out a way to still use it. Kids are smart, but also cyclists. If you're a avid bike rider, you know how to get into the lane of traffic. You know that you use your hand signal and you line up at the front of you get in front of the cars and then you go across the street. So I agree with what you're saying in terms of just the simple fix here is to go back to what it was. The downside is you do lose that connection with your active transportation plan that we would have to identify someplace else. That being said, it is probably the most economical way to get to the finish line on this one.
Does it have to be, I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, I was just saying, theoretically, couldn't we find a 25-mile-per-hour lane somewhere and just throw a bike lane there? Like the traditional time?
So, and one of the options here is to say, is for the council to give direction to staff of, guys,
Put it on Bloomfield.
great idea, doesn't work here.
Put it on Bloomfield.
Go figure out another place to put
Can
it.
we put it on Bloomfield?
But we're still going to have, even before we did the bike lane, that's still a dangerous intersection with
Right.
cars turning right and kids trying to cross, and it's still a dangerous intersection.
Well, I think one of the things that the takeaway from the data, and that's where I want to start, it's not analytical, it's not, hey, I drove it once and I didn't like what I saw. It's the data shows that it's a heavily traversed area. It also shows that we have an interaction between kids and vehicles in front of a high school, which is problematic. It is a danger point within the community. Trying to identify a way to allow the kids to safely cross the street isn't exactly the same issue as how do we get a bike from one side of the street to the other side of the street. So I almost see the pedestrian or the scramble as it's a nice tool to solve an issue with pedestrian traffic. It just so happens to allow for the bike lane to continue the way that it is. But from a safety of moving pedestrians from point to point, I believe the scramble is a very good option, just simply from the standpoint of when kids are moving, nobody else is moving.
And it's literally paint and retiming of lights.
Yes.
Okay.
But we still have
Again.
to move the bike lane.
You would, if you were to do a scramble, if like this, you could have the bike lane remain as is because all of those lanes are going to be able to clear because you've taken a 80-second cycle of pedestrian walking and you've cut it to 40 seconds, which is kind of nice.
I don't think that's the best place for us to put a bike lane.
And I think that
Our
that.
high schoolers don't ride bikes. Our middle schoolers do. So if we just have to have a bike lane,
Mhm.
then why not make it somewhere where we actually have middle schoolers that are utilizing it?
And that is, again, I think the jumping off point of the active transportation plan in 2020 said this was the way to do it. It's 2025 today. Things have changed. The proliferation of e-bikes has changed a lot of this. And we need to also be mindful of the fact that we have other improvements that are going on in different places in the city. Basically, I'm sorry, Bloomfield?
Well, yeah, Bloomfield is in design right now.
So
and, and the other one in design is Oak Street and what's that street? Florista.
Yeah. So we have a number of improvements that are going on. Is there a way to incorporate those improvements to allow us to turn those into bike lanes that can actually be used that are not going to have the same problem that this intersection would have? So moving it to another location.
I vote we move it to another location.
A second.
But however, I still like the idea of the scramble because that's going to solve.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
The scramble.
The scramble could be a great
there,
thing,
right.
as long as
But
we
get
don't
rid
right
of
turn
that
lane back.
bike lane because it is
Right.
ineffective and there is nowhere to put it on that street except for the street widening. I'm assuming that that's the cost prohibitive one where we widen the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
well,
so
we
we're
we
not
still
gonna
have
do
two other
that.
options. But yes, I believe you're referring to option number 4.
Right.
Which I liked until I realized that was going to be the cost prohibitive one.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I can, just real quickly, and I think that I can see where this is going, but if, Ron, could you flip to number 3 real quick? This is the option that we were talking about before. You see this line in a lot of different places throughout the city, where you separate the bike lane. It comes off of the corner to allow for a pocket to be made for the right-hand turns. The issue with this one is it's going to create a backup with the traffic that's heading left, so that becomes problematic. You're just moving the problem
I
from one
looked
place
at
to another.
3 and I didn't like it. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
and
I'm looking at
then
you.
number
It would work if
4.
we had no center medium.
This is the
I mean,
one
if we
that
had a
ultimately
taller
would probably be the safest at the end of the day. It's an extension of the curb, pushing that out and putting the bike lane separated from the traffic. Again, this one would probably be the most expensive of any of them because you're increasing the amount of concrete that you have out there. What I would ask for from the council, if there's it seems like there's a coalition, you've kind of coalesced around the idea that, hey, we want to go back to what we had. I would ask that you give staff the latitude to also take a look at what are some of the options that they might be able to present to you in engineering schematics that might allow you to get to also a scramble or another alternative that the bike lane might fit. But they need a little bit of time to actually, if that is the direction that you are all comfortable with, then I can take that back and have the engineering team work on that.
I mean, I think what I'm hearing is move the bike lane. So we're still in compliance with our active transportation.
Mm-hmm.
But then also for the other issue of just pedestrian safety, look at the scramble because it is the least expensive. It's paint on the street and light timing. And it does take time to get used to it. It feels very weird to cross the street diagonally. And we can have our VIPs out there helping and educating people. The videos that I found from the different cities that already have this implemented, they showed exactly what they were doing. And, you know, they had these cute little crossing guards with signs that say, ask me about the scramble, ask me how to scramble. And it was an education thing. And then once they got it, it was just really good. So I think it sounds like we're able to address both issues without breaking the bank.
Yes.
And not sidestepping any safety.
And can you put it in the loop? That's the only other thing that I would ask.
Of course.
Is that we keep people updated and abreast, create the QR codes that have become so wildly popular so that anyone can find out exactly where we are in this process so it doesn't look like delays, it's just due diligence.
I think that we would actually create like a project page like we do for projects of significance so that everybody can see what's going into it, because I think if you look at it on its face, it's very simple, but then you start realizing, hey, there's options here that might make it even better. So let's take a look at what those are and design them so that you guys have an opportunity to weigh in as to whether or not you like them or if you think that we don't need them at this time.
Anybody else?
I'm okay with the scramble, you know what I mean? I'm not opposed to the scramble. I just think we need to have the right-hand turn lane there, so.
Right,
As long as we can do-
and we'll
we can do
we'll
both, that's
definitely have
fine.
the, no,
Okay.
we're not changing the right-hand turn, so I'll do a motion and hopefully I'll get it. So the motion to staff is to look at relocating that bike lane to closer to probably McAuliffe.
Can I make a suggestion? Just
Sure.
because if you will allow us to just broaden the scope a little bit, we might be able to find some other connections that make some sense.
Yeah, okay. So just basically move the bike lane. Get rid of the bike lane, and then also.
Not get rid of it, move it.
Move it, I'm sorry, relocate the bike, repurpose the bike lane.
Rehome.
Rehome the bike lane. And then also at the same time, look at exploring into doing a scramble for still the pedestrians, so the right-hand turn is safe, nobody's trying to jump the green light before the kids start crossing, and I think we'll have some happy people there. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Does it have to be a motion? It's not a direction.
Well, it's direction.
Yeah, it's just direction, staff. If you are all comfortable with that direction, then that gives us enough to work on.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, you've got 5 comfortables.
Perfect.
I think I'm comfortable.
Gary, don't start.
So we're going to
There's a lot going on there.
We're going to repurpose and scramble. Perfect. Good.
So what's the, one thing about this, maybe the city attorney can answer this, but we had a plan in 2021, but it's not viable today, but we're acting on a plan of 2021. But we still can't do it because it's changed. I'm just wondering how that conflicts. You know? Okay.
Yeah, I would think as part of the direction staff is receiving tonight that we would also take an opportunity to look at that active transportation plan and see what, if any, implications come into play once we start moving around the bike lanes or looking at alternatives here. So that would be part of what we bring back to the council.
Yeah, I mean, number one objective is to stay compliant with the state mandate. And then the other thing, repurpose and scramble.
Copy that.
All good with that? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Let's see, where are we going now? 11C, draft annual operating budget for fiscal year 25-26 and fiscal year 26-27.
Okay, before I turn it over to our finance director, I did want to make it just a few beginning comments. Since Craig and I often joke that we have not had a normal year since we've gotten here. We started our tenure here with COVID, and then we were into recovery and monies coming from the state. Then we were into recession. Then we were into soft landing. Now we're into tariffs. And so we collectively are hoping for a normal year here in the near future. That being said, each year that we have done this budget practice in this format, we've been able to achieve structurally balanced budgets and have had a surplus each year. That has allowed us to grow our general fund reserve. It has allowed the city to maintain a AAA bond status and has allowed us to start paying down our unfunded liabilities, all of which were commitments that the city council made with the when the city actually put forth the Measure Y for the city for the residents to vote on. Since that time, I have to say that I'm very impressed with all the departments and how exactly they've been able to continue to grow not only the services that they provide, but how they provide them, making it better. One of the key elements of that is, well, we'll talk a little bit about it when it comes to the administration and things that we've changed in the back of house. We are really looking forward to this year just in terms of what exactly the opportunities are. As you know, we have a number of plans that recently were approved and that come online. This year is really about implementing those plans and seeing what exactly we can accomplish out there in the community. It also will rely heavily on the partnerships that we're trying to form or that we have formed over the last couple of years. With that, I'm going to go ahead and have Craig give us a start and walk us through this. But remember, we start this process as kind of a 50,000-foot view of what exactly the budget looks like, what some of the goals and the operational wants of each one of the departments is going to be. We then will set up meetings, as many as the council members would like, usually one-on-ones for an hour with myself and Craig and any department heads that we need in order to go into the detail of each of the budgets, to be able to ask all those questions that I know will come to everybody in the middle of the night. and then be back in May for an adoption of the budget, given the fact that we have to have an adopted budget before July 1st. The added benefit of doing it this way is it allows the city clerk and the different departments to really get their contracts all in line so that we are the first city out of the gate when it comes to having the work ready to be done, whereas some cities are waiting and approving their contracts later. We're already working on this year's budget when it comes to July, as opposed to waiting until August or September like other cities. So with that, this is your first blush at the budget, and I'm really looking forward to being able to sit down with each and every one of you to talk about your desires and your goals for the city in 2026 or 2025-26. Great.
Thank you, Chet. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and city staff. I'm pleased to present the proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26. As you recall, we presented the mid-year budget to council on February 18th. Meetings were then held and conducted with city manager, the department heads, and city staff. Finance staff also met with the budget standing committee on 2 separate occasions, April 3rd and April 14th. So this draft budget then represents a product of these meetings. So again, this budget reflects 2 fiscal years. We are proposing adoption of fiscal year 25-26 and a projection for the next fiscal year 26-27. The city initiated this practice back in 2021. This assists the city in focusing on short and long-term goals, as well as the strategic aspects of projects and operational planning. Before we dive into the budget details, I wanted to give kind of an overview of what's going on in the economy that's probably going to affect how this budget is ultimately adopted. Finance has been closely tracking the economy, but this budget incorporates information from various sources, including HTL, Beacon Economics, the U.S. Treasury, 2 separate economic forecasts, one from Cal State University, UF, and another one from Chapman University. Both economists from these schools are leaning towards a forecast that shows slow growth coupled with inflation, and this is commonly known as stagflation. Other factors that remain in play: uncertainty with tariffs and other effect on U.S. and global markets. This may see increased sales, hopefully, surely in the near term for sure, to try to beat the tariffs. But further interest rate moves by the U.S. Treasury are in play or anticipated, and then other global geopolitical risks are also in motion.
Before we go any further, I just wanted to say that, again, there's a lot of changes that are currently coming from the federal government and then from the state government when it comes to what funding sources are going to be available and which ones aren't. Craig rightfully has taken a very conservative approach with regards to our revenue projections, and then also on the flip side with our expenditures, simply from the standpoint that one concern that I have is the cost of just raw materials and where exactly they might be 2 months from now, 3 months from now. And so that obviously can impact not only our CIP projects, but our operational budgets. So we have built in some ability to absorb those. That being said, if there is a wholesale change or wholesale recession that is hitting every single sector, I think that we've reached a point where we're going to need to be revisiting this on a quarterly basis. And so one of the things that we will be implementing this year, with the will of the council, is a quarterly update about what exactly the revenues are looking like and our expenditure levels, so that no one will be shocked as to what exactly is happening in the economy, because obviously we don't plan on slowing down a lot of our projects. We plan to complete them on time and on budget. Sorry, Craig.
That's okay. This slide reflects the revenue projections as we adopted, what is proposed and what is the projection for the next fiscal year. As you recall, we had adopted budget of around $24 million. Our proposed budget is $29.1 million, and then the projection for the next fiscal year, 26-27, is $29.4 million. This is a pictorial graph of the slides of the different pieces of the revenues slices. Taxes, fees together represent 2/3 of the city's revenues. Other revenue sources are much smaller sections of the pie. Some highlights for the budget. Projected revenues for 25-26, again, 29.1 million. 26-27 for 29.4 million. This includes transfers in. It anticipates the city will continue to experience slow growth, flattening of sales tax, particularly in the first half of the fiscal year, and then property taxes are expected to continue upward trending. Some other highlights: UUT at 2.9 million, franchise fees 1.1 million, license permits 1.4, fines and forfeitures estimated 1.6. This kind of reflects the return to a normalized level of activity. Again, this is an offset to the cost for the police programs and activities. Investment earnings will be down roughly a couple hundred or 20 or 30,000, estimating 680,000 for 25-26. This is due to the smaller size in the portfolio that we're experiencing and the market changes with the anticipated treasury moves. On the expenditure side, we're looking at the adopted budget of 23.1 million, proposed budget 28.6 million, and 26-27, 28.9 million. Included with this budget, we have some proposed staffing changes. There's 4 positions that are proposed, 2 in Public Works, a senior maintenance worker and a maintenance 1, and a recreation LAYB rec coordinator and a deputy director are proposed. A total of $272,500. This is a graphical representation of the expenditures, much like the revenue shot. 80% of the budget consists of PD, development services, and rec. Other departments are smaller portions of the budget. And then we go to the departmental overviews.
So this will be a time for each of the department heads to kind of give a brief overview of the department and some of the goals and objectives that they're going to have for that year or for the coming year. I'm going to handle the administration portion of it simply for sake of ease. I even get to push my own button. This is where it's all going to go south. So. Administration, as you probably remember, we consolidated this all into one area in years past in order for it to be just a little bit easier to comprehend. So this area it includes city manager, city clerk, and HR. Obviously, it's charged with largely the internal workings of the city. My goals, or the goals of the city manager's office, remain largely the same as they did from the year before. It's really about ensuring that we're maintaining balanced budgets and that we're being fiscally transparent about what exactly we're spending the money on, and that those audits come back clean and are easy to track. That we are investing in our workforce and developing them to ensure that we are not going to be, that we don't fall back into the past practice of being a recruiting ground for other cities, that we're able to hold on to the staff that is doing the work here in town. Obviously, we're looking and working hard to strengthen our relationships not only with OCFA and the GFTV, but also our nonprofits in the area. That will constitute a major portion of the work that we do this year. Obviously, pulling together the pieces of the economic development plan and then also the different land use plans that we are going to be tackling this year, that'll be important. And then also pushing forward with the improvements that we're doing here in the Civic Center campus. City clerk accomplishments, and I can't say this enough, and I know it isn't something that is going to get a whole lot of attention, but the amount of work that has gone into modernizing the way that the inside of City Hall works in the last couple of years is nothing short of amazing. Having transitioned completely from paper records to digital copies, being able to access that information in a timely manner, having detectives that can now go in and look up files without having to literally go and thumb through stacks of paper is only going to make us more efficient in the future. And then also the implementation of, and I know I'm stealing some of Craig's thunder here, but the implementation of paperless timesheets and those kind of things, which has been successfully implemented, is saving a lot of time and allowing the city clerk, the finance department, and HR to actually focus on doing the work as opposed to the system that allows them to do the work. Also adding passport services this last year was a really nice step and has been proven to be a very popular service with our residents. One of the big things for this year will be establishing the policies that govern each one of those new systems and how exactly we're going to make them more efficient going further or going farther. So that again will be something that is run out of the city clerk's office, and then also the city's branding effort that will eventually touch all of the different aspects of signs and logos throughout the city. Human resources, again, is another place where we have made great strides going forward. The employee wellness program is one that is actually being touted around in other cities at this point as something that they would like to do. The new regulations that we've been able to put in place and the negotiations that have happened with our POA and Teamsters have been fruitful. I'm also pleased to report that, again, we have closed contracts that will take us through another 3.5 years. That is a no small feat. And then also kind of a rethinking of the way that we go out and do recruitment, really trying to find those individuals that have ties to Los Alamitos and really have a vested interest in this community by using that as a barometer for looking at new employees. That's really allowed us to really tap into something, and we've found a better class of employee by doing it.
Okay, back to me, the finance department. So some of the highlights, the finance department oversees, of course, accounts payable, payroll. Accounts payable side, we issued over 2,000 checks for the fiscal year. Manage 23 separate funds, manage a debt portfolio of $3.1 million, $29 million budget, and a $24 million investment portfolio. The goals for 24-25, digitize the AP warrants and CalCard processing through Laserfish. We successfully implemented electronic payroll through Ultimate Kronos Group, UKG. Again, this eliminates manual timekeeping, paper timesheet reporting, created an online portal for employees' access, and creates major efficiencies for the finance workflow. 25-26 goals, cost recovery studies underway, issuing RFPs. We just completed one for auditing. RAMS was selected for the next 3 years plus 2 optional years, and we'll be doing a banking RFP in the early part of 2026. Other things we'll be looking at is modernizing the ERP financial system for the city. Achievements that the finance department has completed and continuing is the GFOA Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the ACFR. For 22-23, we're anticipating an award for fiscal year 23-24, which we just completed. We have a AAA credit rating and investment portfolio earnings of $1.2 million that we realized before adjustments.
Thank you, Craig. Development Services. I'm proud to lead the men and women of Development Services. Development Services is several divisions. That includes our engineering division that handles the bulk majority of our capital improvement projects. We have our neighborhood preservation that upholds the municipal codes and the aesthetics of the city. We have our building and safety that looks at permits and makes sure that when buildings go up, walls go up, it's built safe for, again, the residents and the businesses of Los Alamitos. We have economic development. We have Public Works, right? Public Works, again, is a big division as it handles the maintenance of the city, whether it's streets, parks, or facilities. And again, they also do fleet as well, okay? And so again, we have those several divisions. Here's some numbers. By the numbers, we have business licenses there. As you can see, economic development, we were successful this past year with the Revive program, right? 22 participating residents, up to $100,000 was infused in our community. Again, the Revive program was a facade program for our commercial sector. So if you wanted to repaint the building or improve your landscaping or put a new sign, you could apply for that. And several businesses in the city, again, 22. One that is coming up soon, and you could probably do work here, is right across the street from us, is the American Legion. Right, they're redoing the outside of their building, putting some landscaping in front, and of course they're putting a mural coming up soon. So again, it's a exterior facade improvement program. And then we have Pine Streets, again, supporting our small businesses. You've heard me, if you council, as you know, that the mom and pop businesses are our backbone of our city. And of course, the Nights on Pine, again, tactical urbanization, trying to create that downtown feel for our town center. We have, again, neighborhood preservation, right? Again, they got the cases open and the cases closed. We have engineering, $11 million in capital improvement projects. We have public works. So public works is an interesting one in terms of, I don't think people really truly understand what public works does. So one of the numbers I have up there is 55 miles of streets. We're a small city and 55 miles of streets, but please remember that streets are not just the asphalt that the vehicles go on. We handle the medians, the landscaping in there, the trees. We handle the curb, the gutter, right? The storm drain system. We handle the asphalt, and of course we handle the concrete sidewalk as well. So when we consider street, it's sidewalk to sidewalk and everything in between, including street sweeping, WQMP, water quality management, and an NPDS, which is National Pollutant Discharge, stormwater drain off. So again, it's that's just streets. Like, you don't want me to go into like parks or the other stuff, facilities, right? And then building and safety, again, like I said, you can see right there the numbers. And one thing I added in here was Discover LosAl, which was a new initiative in our economic development. It's a social media platform. We hire a consultant or vendor to come out here. So again, small mom and pop business, they're focused on running their business, right? And so sometimes they don't have time to put together a robust social media platform. In today's world, social media is the way to go in terms of outreach and marketing a small business or a large business. And so we are assisting those businesses by hiring this vendor to go in and do spotlights on these businesses. And so far, as you can see by the numbers there, it is very, very, very off to a good start. Very good start. Development Services mission statement there, I'm not going to read it, but basically, we are the physical development of the community through, again, the primary division of, which I stated before, neighborhood preservation, public works, engineering, etc. And through these main division, we establish a long-range vision for Los Alamitos and also include the maintenance of the city on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. This is the organizational chart. We are one city, one team. We're very unique because each division is kind of siloed. It's very hard for me to move my building and safety inspector to go be a public work maintenance worker, right? And vice versa. But, you know, they work well together. They share information together. And of course, we are an internal and what I call an external department. As you heard from City Manager Simmons, you know, even though every department and every division is an external, we will communicate to the public. The next three departments, Development Services, Recreation Community Services, and PD, are mostly a lot of time the outward face. But we are also an internal department because we handle facility maintenance, we handle fleet maintenance, and so again, I stress to the team to be customer service and quality control for both external and internal. Achievements, right? So you know, I'm not going to go over every achievement because, you know, we don't want to be here all the way till whatever, 9, 10 o'clock at night, but just some achievements to highlight here. And again, as council aware is, we redid the Laurel Park Tennis Center, right? Resurfacing and refencing. We did the Stearns Park, right? Which, if you ever drive by Stearns Park, it is always crowded. I am absolutely amazed how many kids are out there on a day-to-day basis. We did a citywide street improvement, and we did, of course, a renovation of Community Center 1, right? But we have a lot of it, and you can see somewhere, again, Discover LosAl. We have plans in place, so we have shelf-ready made project, some of the economic development initiatives that we have out there. Upcoming projects right here, you'll see in the near future, whether it's in a month or 6 months or 8, 10 months, but we have an online parking permit system coming in. Right now, construction on Labradette Park is coming up, and we should be done with that in the next few months. And of course, Sir Optimus Park, we're ready to go. We'll probably start that demo and that part project, probably, like I said, in probably like 2 months. And of course, the big one in this upcoming year is renovation of Community Center 2. Development Services Department goals, you can see right there, is provide best-in-class customer service. Number 2, establish a structured, efficient, and transparent workflow. And number 3, cultivating a work culture that provides growth, teamwork, and positive morale. People, purpose, and presence, that's our saying that I stress to our team every day. And it's not just team development services, it's the entire team here in Los Alamitos. I want to take a moment to kind of talk about that a little bit, stress some of the highlights. Again, we don't want to be a broken record, but I want to stress some of that stuff here. Is first, we're going through the budget process, and with Director Kohler and his manager Barb down the way from me, I want to thank them, because every department here will tell you that during the budget it's very stressful, very detailed, and this year has been gone very smoothly, and I want to thank them. I want to take the time to thank them. So thank you to the finance team and everything. But again, you heard, and I want to stress it, is uncertainty. Economic uncertainty, whether it's tariffs, rising costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And especially in development services where we are in charge of capital improvement and maintenance, it's very hard to kind of judge what the future is, right? And in terms of service, what the public needs to understand is the service is tied into labor and the team here. And we are a small but mighty team, right? And the people here really, and our consultants here that we have really care about the city. And so that's why it's people, right? The people here are special. They really care about the city. They're invested in the city. That's why when you go to an event, you see a lot of, again, the vast majority of events are held by Recreation Community Services, but you just don't see Recreation Community Services staff there. You see a booth from PD. You see a booth from Development Services. You see other people from other departments, other divisions visiting that booth. You should see the connection that we have with our nonprofits, right? I know, I'm looking at him right here, right? Our acting chief here, right? He's on a board of a nonprofit, right? You got to my right here, the Recreation Community Services Director, who is very involved in a nonprofit in the school district, again. And so again, that's our purpose. Our purpose is to be connected to the city and to, again, be part of the city. We work for the city, we totally understand that, but we have a purpose of trying to maintain best-in-class service. And the last one that I put here is presence, right? I thought about this, but for the most part, people don't come to me unless they have a problem, okay? Right? I have a pothole, or I have a tree problem, or I have a striping problem, or I have a car problem, right? Or again, we're internal, external, or my light bulb doesn't work, or whatever it is, right? But see, for the most part, we do not get that many complaints in reality because of our best-in-class service and our team members, right? And so the presence here is everyone gets to put their head on their pillow at night, knowing that they're being taken care of. The police department is doing their job patrolling the city, right? Our public works division is out there making sure that the lights are working, the streets are doing well, right? Parks and Rec are doing their job in creating a quality program and quality service in terms of events, their programs, and safety, right, and everything. And even our partners, like I said, our partners are tremendous, whether it's OCFA, is right, the chief's down there still, right? And what he does, we saw a presentation today, right? And so again, we provide a calmness, and I like to say a warm blanket. So again, people, purpose, and presence. And again, we are proud to represent the city of Los Alamitos, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Noda. The Recreation and Community Services Department continues to provide dynamic and engaging events and programs all year long to unite the Los Alamitos community. Each year, we steadily increase participation and are bursting at the seams at our popular events and our newly renovated community center. We are proud to serve all ages and abilities with the help of our generous sponsors and partners. We are able to do all that we do with our crew of about 80 incredible team members. These team members serve with their hearts and create smiles, magic, and memories for our Los Alamitos residents to continue our special annual traditions, bringing an exceptional quality of life to our community. Many of our team members are from this community and graduates of Los Alamitos High School and eager to give back to the community that they grew up in. This slide illustrates a lot of our statistics that we will be I'll be highlighting in our upcoming slides. And this is our proposed organizational chart with our full-time staff highlighted, and then all of our water safety instructors, lifeguards, and recreation staff. As far as programs and services, we have a wide array of core recreation programs, including adaptive recreation, aquatics, classes, day camp events, facility reservations, party packages, parks program, preschool program, senior services, youth and adult sports, sunburst field operation, which I'll be talking about, youth volunteer program, and additional intergovernmental affairs division, and grants and partnerships for the entire city. Through our partnership with the Los Alamitos Community Foundation, we were able to expand our adaptive recreation program, serving families with additional needs, and work with the sports teams at Los Alamitos High School to create a Pals of LaSalle Youth Sports Day. Our beautiful community center, renovated with the help of Development Services, has a large increase in facility reservations from weddings to birthday parties, and now we offer party packages. Our Little Oak preschool program will now offer 5 days a week options for parents at their request for additional days of care and getting our children ready for kindergarten. Our day camp program has a great demand for excursions that sell out each summer, and we are now adding a second bus to accommodate these additional requests. We expanded our offerings of specialty camps to add an even wider array of activities that our campers can enjoy throughout the summer. We will be taking over the operations of Sunburst Field at the Los Alamitos Joint Forces Training Base. This facility adds green space to our city's park acreage availability and allows us to further program and expand in youth sports offerings. We have added a United Teen Mentoring program that allows teens to learn about local government and what each of the departments do to service our community. And we thank each of our departments here for stepping up and participating in this educational opportunity for our youth. Here's some photos of our beautifully renovated community center. And we also were able to, with the Los Alamitos Unified School District, redo the floors that had some water damage at the Oak Gymnasium. This past year, we accomplished the completion of 2 major plans: our Senior Services Master Plan that the mayor had referenced earlier, and our updated legislative platform. We are now in the implementation stage in expanding our free offerings of classes, workshops, and resources for seniors. We are actively participating in the legislative process with the legislative platform, acting as a guide for our city. With a total of 24 events, we attract 45,000 annual attendees, and we unite residents, businesses, nonprofits, the Los Alamitos Unified School District, churches, and more. We consistently sell out in our vendor spots because our events are so well attended, averaging 4,000 to 5,000 attendees, up to 14,000 at our 3rd of July Fireworks Spectacular. And we measure up to medium to large scale cities in the professionalism, organization, and attraction that our events provide. Our sponsors, such as Memorial Care Miller Children's and Women's Hospital Long Beach, Universal Waste Systems, Financial Partners Credit Union, the Los Alamitos Community Foundation, Southland Credit Union, Cal Optima Health, UCI Health Los Alamitos, and partners like the Los Alamitos Unified School District, the Joint Forces Training Base, all of our Serve LaSalle local nonprofits, and of course, our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Commission, we are able to serve thousands of people and create events and programs that make Los Alamitos the ideal place to live, work, and play. And with the help of our Director of Communications, we continue to provide our high-quality marketing and branding for the city through our multiple avenues of digital and print media in partnership with our City Clerk and Director of Communications. Our upcoming goals include the implementation of the Senior Services Master Plan, the implementation of the legislative platform, working with Development Services on beginning the city's citywide EV transportation program, Sunburst Field operations, and returning at a future council meeting to request funding to begin a Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And this concludes my presentation.
Before we move on, I did want to note that the council approved earlier today the RFP to go out for that EV senior service transportation. So that we hope to implement that quickly. Please, sir. Good evening.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'm happy to be here to share some of the accomplishments and future goals of the police department. As we go through the slides, the bullet points that are in green are the goals that we've accomplished. The ones in brown font indicate in progress, and the black ones are future goals that we're working to complete. I'm going to go over the various divisions within the police department, starting with administration. This consists of Chief Claiborne and the Executive Assistant Wilson, oversees the entire operation of the police department, and ensures that everyone has what they need to do the job and that the operation runs smoothly. We have accomplished full staffing in our non-sworn positions, and then within the sworn ranks, we currently have 22 positions filled with staff working as solo officers. You just saw Josh McLeod get sworn in today. He'll be our 23rd as soon as he gets off training on July 30th. Grant Gibson is currently in the academy at the Orange County Sheriff's Regional Training Academy. And he graduates on October 9th. As soon as he finishes his FTO training, he'll be our 24th position. And then we actually have a sergeant candidate in backgrounds, and when he gets done, that'll put us at full staffing at 25. I know the full staff mark is always hard to hit because our sworn staff have to pass backgrounds, pass the academy, pass training, pass probation, and there's a lot of opportunities to lose people along the way, but we're very optimistic that we're going to hit that mark this year.
I'm sorry, I have to stop the acting chief right there. For an agency of this size to achieve full staffing is no small feat, and the ability to actually do all the things that they want to do, they obviously need to be at full staffing to do that. I'm impressed, just I have to say it, the amount of work that has been done and the amount of things that we have added in the last year with before getting to full staffing, like the Citizens Academy, like the VIPS program, like the bike patrol, like the dog. Those are all things that you just don't see a lot of small agencies of our size really doing, and you start adding in all of these special assignments and all of the regional task force that we're trying to be a part of. My hat's really off to the police command staff and the way that they've actually gone about trying to make sure that LaSalle is seen as a regional player as opposed to the insular police department that it was before.
Thank you, sir. Of course, the future goal would be to add a 26th sworn position, which will be assigned to a federal task force, and that salary would be partially offset by asset forfeiture money. There is a lot of administrative work to be done within the PD, and our department would truly benefit from some help in this area by way of an analyst and some part-time clerical positions. These are just some demonstrations of keeping up the morale, the culture. Again, staffing always a key that we're working on, and there's an example of some organizational success as well. The operations division consists of sworn and professional staff assigned to patrol and traffic. These are the folks you see out in the street every day, proactively reducing crime, answering calls for service, and handling traffic issues. Patrol goals, successfully completed the remodel and modernization of the property and evidence room. For that, I want to give a shout out to Ron Noda. I really appreciate that. It looks amazing in there. If you haven't seen the property and evidence room, it's the nicest place in the police department. We have a new vendor for applying graphics to our police vehicles. They've been doing an exceptionally good job. We had some issues with the last one, so we're happy that that's done. We're in the process of evaluating and implementing various technologies that are going to continue to improve patrol operations. The Patrol Field Training Officer Manual has been completed and completely updated, and it's under final review before we send it to POST, which is the Peace Officer Standard and Training, for their final blessing. That was a huge task, and hats off to Sergeant Malatesta. He really did a great job on that. In the upcoming fiscal year, we'd like to evaluate the new Generation 5 Glock handguns, and if desired and when financially practical, possibly purchase and assign these new weapons to our officers. We'd like to re-implement the Reserve Officer Program. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's part-time officers. They have full-time jobs, and they come in here and help augment the staffing. A huge thing that we're going to try and focus on is the body-worn cameras. This is really an industry standard across most agencies. I'm not sure if we're the only one, but we're definitely one of the very few without them in the County of Orange. They're very huge for reducing liability and financial risk. I can go on for days about them, but just know that they're on the horizon. And of course, to continue some team building events and try and boost morale throughout the police department. Traffic goals. We created and implemented a new e-bike municipal code. We've used our new motor officer to enhance traffic safety in a direct enforcement way so that when people have issues and request us to send out some enforcement, he's the one that goes out there and helps solve the traffic issues. He's also done a great job in and around the schools. We have a new member on the STAR team, which is the Serious Traffic Accident Response Team. And then we're also looking to send those members to additional traffic training. We have participated in DUI checkpoints with neighboring cities, and we're in the planning stages of doing one of our own here pretty quick. We have a OTS grant. That funding helps to purchase more equipment, pay for enforcement activity like distracted driving, DUI checkpoints, etc. We'd like to increase the use of our bike team, not just at community events, but also directed enforcement in the riverbeds or in neighboring the neighborhoods that have issues where we can get in there and use the bike team to be a little more stealthy. We're also looking to possibly hire 2 additional police aides that would allow us to provide 7-day-a-week parking enforcement. Right now, we currently have just limited during the week, so being able to get the weekends in there would be an asset, I think. Here's some examples of community-oriented policing. You can see we've got our updated fleet out there on the JFTB. Patrol Officer Espinoza.
We are not paying for those fighter planes, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
So in the next budget, I'd like to ask for a fighter plane. Some organizational successes. We have increased red light cameras, same exact intersections that we were at before, just some additional approaches. Sergeant Maltesa completed the Sherman Block Leadership Institute, or SLI. And then, of course, we've got our motor out there. Investigations and Administration Services. This consists of the Detective Bureau, Records, Property and Evidence, our School Resource Officer, Internal Affairs, SWAT team, and the front counter, among others. This division is run by Captain Kane Gallagher and is responsible for investigating criminal cases, maintaining police records, storage of property and evidence, like I mentioned, the School Resource Officer, and so much more. Under goals, we've started using new technology to help the Detective Bureau, as the city manager related earlier. Just a couple of quick ones on that. There's something called Primize. It's actually a free application where you can do online face searches. We kind of stumbled into this one, but if you have a picture of someone, it searches all open source, and you can actually find out people's identity. It's been pretty remarkable. Crime Tracer. That's a law enforcement search engine we use with access to 1.3 billion records. We've conducting outreach and education to our senior community on phone and internet scams. We're continually looking into new technology to see how it can support our desire to be more effective and efficient, increase our information sharing by collaborating with other agencies, and work even more with the community and start engaging the public in our investigative process to help solve crimes. Moving on to records. We conducted an audit to identify records that are ready to be purged. Additionally, we have reorganized the Records Bureau to make it more efficient and also create a laserfiche station. We're in the process of cross-training our police aides and our VIPs to help scan documents into laserfiche. As a PD, we're striving to be more current and use modern technology, and our goal is to digitalize all our police records. Under youth program goals, our SRO has been involved in after-school and drug interdiction programs, helping us build our relationship with the youth. The SRO has been trained in juvenile investigations recently, now carrying a caseload actually, and we've got a new SRO vehicle. It's a fully outfitted Ford F-150 if you haven't seen it. Moving forward, we want to help combat the vaping epidemic through training and educating our youth. We're also committed to being more involved with our elementary and middle schools, not just focusing solely on the high school. As always, sending our officers and SRO to advanced training will make them more knowledgeable and effective when dealing with our young community. Here's some examples of investigations that worked out for us there. Our SRO on the right. There's our SWAT team. An example of a property and evidence, but not ours. Ours looks better than that. Some organizational successes. They're doing some e-bike training on the left, and that was one of our elder elderly community that was taken advantage of that we were helping there on the right. Moving into support services, this consists of emergency management, training, peer support, social media, PIO, volunteer services, special events, and community engagement. This is run by support services manager Robert Acosta, and this division manages the volunteers in policing or VIPS program, posts on social media, handles emergency preparedness, ensures staff are properly trained, and acts as the press information officer when needed. Some goals. We've conducted multiple drills and training sessions to get employees prepared to help at the EOC in the event of an emergency. We've also improved relationships with many of the stakeholders involved in multi-jurisdictional incidents. Future goals include increased training for the EOC and updating the IT capabilities. One very large goal within emergency management is to establish a West County EOC or Emergency Operations Center at the Joint Forces Training Base. Conduct a full-scale drill in the fourth quarter, and to participate in a large-scale regional EOC activation. Under our volunteers program, we've established and fully implemented the VIP program, which you've all been very aware of. Just to give you a quick heads up on what happened to make this come to fruition. Created a policy, we've got uniforms, went through the selection process, completed onboarding, trained the new hires, developed a manual outlining their duties, obtained and outfitted a VIPS vehicle, and it's just been a huge success. So shout out to Robert Acosta and everything he did to make that work. In the future, looking to conduct VIPS quarterly meetings, recruit 2 more VIPs, and expand training and deployment of the VIPs to increase their positive impact on the PD and the public. Under community engagement, we've increased the number of community engagement events. You can see some of them listed there. Delivered a Citizens Academy, which you heard graduated tonight. It was a huge success. We participated in MAD's Every 15 Minutes program at the Los Al High School. When it arrives, we would like to introduce the new armored personnel carrier at a public event. We want to do that to allow us to explain its function and make it less shocking when it's deployed in a real-life scenario. Captain Gallagher got notified today that it's complete, so we're just setting up a time to go out and inspect it and get it shipped here. We will continue to work on the areas taught in the Citizens Academy, refining the curriculum to make the program even better and more educational. There are our wonderful VIPs, some special events, some trainings that are being done, and the emergency management. Oh, hey, there's our favorite captain on the left, some organizational skills on the right. If I can just go over, summarize the overarching challenges and goals for the PD moving forward, always and always and always will be recruitment and retention. We're constantly working not just to recruit, but when we're fully staffed, it's an ongoing mission to retain the great people we have. We're looking to figure out some long-term funding for the officer wellness program. We got some money up front, but that's a continuing program that we need to look at getting some funding for, and finding ways to continue to use technology to become more efficient. Goals: implement the West County EOC, adding that 26 sworn position. Explore the idea of an after-school youth program run by a sworn officer. Complete the renovations of the police station, and re-implement the reserve officer program.
Thank you, Captain South. Kind of an overview of the capital projects that are planned. CIP consists of $3.8 million in multi-year, which is carryover projects, which will be largely funded by prior year surpluses and covered by investment maturities. The proposed CIP for 25-26 is $10 million. $5.4 million of that is in general fund. Funding, again, for this will largely come from, and for the most part, be aligned with the investment maturities. In addition, projects totaling $2.1 million have been deferred to next fiscal year, 26-27. Some other budget considerations. Funding will continue for the UAL paydown. This consists of a $260,000 annual additional discretionary payment, or also known as ADP, plus $50,000 a month installments to the city's trust. As of March 31, 2025, $1.3 million has been applied towards reducing the UAL. CalPERS and changes to the UAL. The current study, known as the ALM, is underway with CalPERS. Their changes become effective July 1, 2026. Potential changes to the wage growth rate is currently at 2.75%. That would likely increase. Discount rate is at 6.8%. That will decrease likely. And the mortality factors will decrease. All these influence the city's UAL, and finance will monitor these and report when information is available in the future. Takeaways for the budget 25, 26, and 26, 27. The budget represents the city's 5th consecutive structurally balanced budget. If adopted, it will also be the 5th straight budget to include surplus. Projections for fiscal year 25, 26, and 26, 27 reflect surpluses of $502,000 and $416,000 respectively. City is continuing to pursue and utilize grant funding where available to accomplish CIP projects, including facilities, street bike lanes, parks, and technology upgrades. General fund reserves continue to be used to fund multi-year CIP. Summary, the fiscal impact estimated revenues reflect an increase of about 14%. Proposed expenditures reflect an increase of about 18% over the adopted budget. Budget projection and estimate for 25, 26, 26, 27 are balanced and reflect surpluses of $502,000 and $416,000 respectively. That ends my presentation.
Council, as I stated at the beginning, this is the starting point for the city's budget process. I would now I'm sorry, let me back up. What we'll do next is actually start to schedule meetings with the council in order to come in and speak with staff one-on-one in order to get into any of the particular detail that they're interested in reviewing. Obviously, we're open to being able to accommodate any of the ideas that you might have, being able to push them up against the budget and see where exactly there might be some items that obviously accomplish both goals, and then present that back to you in May. So that is our presentation for tonight.
So this is just a receive and file?
That is correct.
And I would duplicate Chet's offer. I think this is the document that runs our city, so to spend an hour one-on-one to fully understand it and ask questions is a valuable use of time for all of us. So I would highly recommend my colleagues schedule that time. So we don't need a vote or anything here, just a receive and file?
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, if you receive and file, is it a receive and file that votes, or is it just a receive and file?
Just receive and file.
Okay.
Perfect. I like that. Okay, so now we're into public hearing. AB 2561, reporting vacancies, recruitment and retention efforts, and administrative regulations policy. Is this a new mandate?
This is, Madam Mayor, if you allow me, I can give you kind of the 5,000-foot view, and
Okay.
obviously staff is prepared to give the presentation as well, and we'll be able to go over the things that we're legally required to go over. Largely, AB 2561 is a new state mandate that really revolves around the vacancy rates of different public agencies, and there's been a lot of different situations where, for various reasons, agencies will hold positions open, will not actively recruit to try to fill them, will then go and try to fill those spaces with contractors, which obviously is not in the best interest of collective bargaining and such. And so this law was put into place in order to force cities to report whenever they reached a level of attrition that they thought spurred on those conversations as being necessary. The high view of this is that they want to know if any city has a vacancy rate of over 20%. We do not, so we don't fall into that category. So there'll be a lot of information that the HR department will then send to the state to show that we are compliant with AB 2561. But again, it largely is an effort to make sure that cities are trying to fill positions and not really trying to figure out ways to skirt their obligations to their unions.
Okay. But she has to give that presentation because that is part of.
That is correct.
Yep.
Yes.
So let's go.
Go
All
for
right.
it.
I promise I'll make it quick.
You do whatever you need to do. I ain't trying to break the law.
All right, so this presentation satisfies the obligation of Assembly Bill 2561, the status of our city's vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts. in the calendar year of 2024. So AB 2561 was introduced to address the issues of job vacancies in the local government, which adversely affects the delivery of public service and employee workload. Among other requirements, the bill mandates that the public agencies present the status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts during a public hearing before the agency's governing body at least once per fiscal year. This new mandate and this new law was put into effect just this last January 1, 2025. And if the vacancies within a single bargaining unit meet or exceed 20%, then the authorized full-time of 20% of the full-time authorized positions, then the bargaining unit can request further information. Okay, so in general, our workforce information for 2024, we had a total of 77 full-time positions. And this is our non-represented employees, our POA, and the Teamsters 911. Oh, geez. Okay, vacancy information. So our general vacancy information for each calendar month in 2024, you can see that we had an average percent of vacancies at the end of each month of 5%. That's just the average of non-rep Teamsters and our POA. So, in general, this slide is intended to satisfy the obligation which requires that our city identifies any necessary changes to policies, procedures, and recruitment activities that may lead to obstacles in the hiring process. We have reviewed our policies and procedures, the recruitment activities to identify any potential obstacles, and we've learned and are happy to report that this city is in a great position related to our recruitment and retention efforts. Like every other city, our city can identify any or some possible potential obstacles being competitive job markets, attracting quality and qualified candidates. There's a talent shortage, but most importantly that we see that we are not having a big recruitment issue. Retention information in our bargaining units. So for our 2 bargaining units in 2024, we had a total of 7 vacancies created throughout the year. 1 newly budgeted position was created. We did not have any internal promotions or vacancies created. And we did not have any retirements in 2024. We had 2 vacancies created by involuntary separation and 4 by voluntary separation. The attrition rate for involuntary was 2%, and then we had a voluntary separation attrition rate of 5%, leading to our total turnover rate of 9%. So our bargaining units for POA, this is the main slide that shows that we're not reaching the 20%. POA, we had 3 total vacancies last year in 2024. There were 25 total budgeted sworn officers. That leads to a 13% vacancy rate. Teamsters, we had 4 vacancies, 29 budgeted positions with a 14% vacancy rate. And that concludes the presentation to satisfy AB 2561.
I think that's it.
No, I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, 13 and 14 are dreadfully close to 20. So what happens when that gets triggered, especially because it's the POA and the Teamsters, and those can be a little more fascinating to fill anyway. Like, what are they looking at as far as how much time do we get to show good faith we are actively trying to hire and get back under that 20%, seeing as we're incredibly close in whatever this moment was?
Go ahead.
So I'm in constant communication with both of the bargaining units. So they know our recruitment efforts constantly. Right now, we are almost at and fully staffed in the POA, so not a concern there. I would say the same with Teamsters as well. But it's mostly that, again, this is a look back and not where we are currently.
And to answer that even more, I also think that if we were to reach 20%, then we have an explanation and some additional information that we need to give to the unions. But at the same time, I think the main focus of this bill is really to show that you are actively recruiting in order to fill the positions that the city council has authorized at the end of the day. And we will be able to show that because all of our positions are listed on our website. We are able to track how long they've been open, how exactly we're filling them, what exactly the process is for filling them as well. So even if we were to reach that 20% threshold, which I don't see us reaching, we would be able to show that we're making a good faith effort in order to fill those positions.
See, my mind automatically goes to the nefarious because we're not. And when we begin to bargain, and I would just gently suggest that we do have a consistent and totally documented record of we have consistently been doing whatever to keep us away from that 20% so that we don't come up on bargaining agreements and they're like, oh, look, they're over that 20% and and they use it against us, because that's usually the flip side of something that it's an unintended consequence. I would just like to avoid.
And I think that one of the nice things about what the HR team has done this year is really having implemented a new recruitment software. All of this is being tracked in real time, so it will be able to pull snapshots throughout the year. So I agree completely.
Perfect.
Mayor, if I could, please,
Yes.
just to add a little bit on that. I don't want to get too hung up on that 20% number because largely it's not a punitive threshold. Like there's no dire consequences if you hit that number. It's just that the bargaining unit, once you hit that point, at their choosing, can ask that you include additional information in this annual report. So there's no penalty or any direct consequence to the city. It's just that now they can ask for additional information like, okay, well, we want to know specifically what the vacancies are in our bargaining unit and what you're doing to address the vacancies in our unit. So there's some additional stuff you would provide, but it's not like you've missed a mandate and now there's, civil liability or fines to the city that stem from that.
It's not yet.
All right. Well, I need to public hearing, so I will open it up to anybody? All righty then. I'll close the public hearing and bring it back here for any questions from my colleagues. All right. Is this a receive and file?
If we can have a motion and second, because you're also adopting the admin rec.
Gotcha. Can I get a motion and second to do what Wendy says?
I will make a motion to
I'll
do
second.
what Wendy says.
Second?
You got your second.
I'll second.
Oh, okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. Can we move on now? I think we're good. Because I've got 4 minutes before somebody turns into a pumpkin to my right. Council announcements. I'm going to start with Nefolda here.
Good, I'll be short.
Good.
I've got no announcements. However, since we were talking about traffic, I would like to at some point bring back or bring on the agenda for discussion. When you're headed across Katella towards Florista, it makes you merge before you can make a right on Florista. I'd like to talk about that.
You refer to Los Alamitos Boulevard.
Correct.
Right where VCA is in Nick's Deli.
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear, sir, the merging is,
Well, it's a right-hand turn,
Right.
and if you don't turn right, you've got to merge.
right.
Or what I see most people do is blow through that right-hand turn only and then merge.
Okay.
And you get stuck in the morning trying to drop children off, so.
Well, it was changed from arrows to get over, but you can still go straight, to full-on solid white lines to merge over. I have no idea. I mean, be interested to know how that happened. I have no idea why.
Definitely, that's
the mysteries.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
You've been busy. Councilmember Hibbard.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your presentations tonight. Very informative, very helpful. So thank you. I attended a few events this past month, the RMAC meeting on the base. And one of their big things is that LA Fleet Week is coming up on May 21st through 25th. And if anyone's interested in getting any more information, their website is lafleetweek.com. And they offer tours of the ships, aircraft flyovers, and live entertainment. I also attended the OCOG annual conference where our city manager was a panelist. It was nice to see a representative from the city on the panel. Did a great job. I attended the U Center's 1920s themed casino night fundraiser, and I heard that was pretty successful. I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting at Madera's where Colonel Fox provided additional briefing on what's happening on the base. I attended the We Care fundraiser at the Navy Golf Course, and they did pretty well with their fundraiser as well. I also attended the CPRS award ceremony in Lakewood and watched as Precious Life received their recognition, and attended the Spring Carnival along with several of my colleagues. Fun watching little kids run around, so good job with all the Parks and Rec team for doing that. And I'll just conclude by sharing that I recently received the honor of being selected to join an American delegation traveling to Europe to meet with European members of parliament, dignitaries, and national leaders to discuss current events and international relations. So I'm looking forward to learning from everyone on the American delegation as well as the European delegation.
Okay, Councilmember Lowe.
So the CPRS District Awards Banquet was great, and Spring Carnival and Arbor Day were great events, and staff did a great job at those events like they always do. And last thing I would say is that I really look forward to an event coming up, and that'll be the grand reopening of the right-hand turn lane on LaSalle Boulevard at Cerritos. I can't look forward to that. And we have some more updated things too to follow.
Do you want the big scissors for the
Get the
ribbon
bear
cutting?
cat blow through it.
You want the big scissors for the ribbon cutting?
Definitely. Can I do that one?
Oh, please, if you want to stand out in traffic with a pair of big scissors, by all means, knock yourself out.
We'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah, I'll be driving a car. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, Panther crowd. So I went to all of my appointed meetings because I am a good little council member. I went to the 3rd annual OC Women's Conference, and this is only significant because I believe we found our keynote speaker for Elevate, our next Elevate Women's Conference. The Spring Carnival I love because, number one, Elvis was on full display. This is super loud, or maybe I'm just super loud. And then the joy of the children, and every booth was filled. Like, these are the different things I think as a council member I have to look at. Like, okay, now what is the attraction doing? What are the children doing? What are our vendors doing? And I think it was spectacular across the board. I went to the CPRS Awards banquet, and I had the distinct honor of escorting Miss Rachel Salas up to get her recognition. And it just made me so happy because she's this sweet little bitty lady, and she held onto my hand and she called me her friend, so I called her my sweetie pie, and it was great. Y'all know how to throw a party over in Parks and Recs. I went to the Academy graduation for Officer McLeod, and like the videos that they show you, so the Ride Along and the Citizens Academy or whatever, but being in a room with people that are getting ready to put their life on the line for their neighbor, there's just something that I don't necessarily have articulation for, but I highly recommend that you just be in that space and watch how these young men and women make a pledge to lay down what could be the ultimate sacrifice for their neighbor. It just, if I was a crier, there might have been, my eye working on its own. And then I planted my 4th tree at the Arbor Day celebration. Someone pointed out to me that that was my 4th one, so I've now planted 4 trees. And the highlight is, someone had mentioned the Mobile Memory Lab. Well, guess who got the Mobile Memory Lab to come to Los Alamitos Library? So from June 3rd to June 28th, they will be there Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays 9 to 5. They're closed Friday and Sunday. But I think what needs to be noted is it is a digitizing, self-service digitizing service. So you can bring your VHS, you can bring your floppy disks, you can bring whatever, and they will help you upload them to get those things digitally. So they will be here in June. I have it on good authority that it will be on our website, and I'm trying to get it in the loop. And then I've also, I think, requested that we have some additional pages for some of the agencies that we got, because I'm on like mosquito and vectors, and when they have, oh, watch out, the mosquitoes is coming. We have it where we can put it on the website and people can get more information, or when OC SAN, because I'm the alternate and somebody has been allowing me to go to those meetings, when they're doing different things, that will also be on the website. And then, OCFA has their own way that they do things, but that is what I have been up to, my friends. Thank you for indulging me.
All right, and I am out of words, so we will adjourn this meeting at 9:04 p.m. Thank you very much.